Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you don't have to worry about it, because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been going to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media, share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are back. We got another interesting subject going on with us today. But, of course, we ain't going to do nothing that ain't interesting around this camp. Today we're dealing with more to black men's story, y'all. We're doing more to black men's story. Yes, Sharon Moore, y'all. We dealing with Sharon Moore. It looks like that man got set up from the get, y'all. He got set up from the get. But before I go into this, let me first give a couple shout outs. Well, first of all, shout out to the people who come and watch on a regular basis, because that's the fam. Shout out to the people who leave comments after the stream, helping the algorithm. Shout out to the people who hype the videos up every chance they get, which helps the algorithm. And shout out to everybody who hits that like button, which helps the algorithm. Y'all are the people who help grow the channel. Make sure that it's put out there for folks, that other people can find the Roger Report Live. And I appreciate that big time. And I'm going to say shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty, the people who become financial contributors at the Roger Report Live, because, y'all help me do the things that I do, and I couldn't do certain things without y'all. So shout out to each and every person who has ever contributed to the Roger Report Live. All money on the wood is good over here, y'all. All money on the wood is good. And I want to give a special shout out to my main man, Jay Bones. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time. Shout out to you. Man, been giving me support for a good minute. So shout out to J Bones. Thank you very much for what you do, my brother. Thank you very much. And let me give a couple shout outs to some of the first people to check in this morning. And today we got the one and only Bruce Owen Wayne, who is first in the building, who is what we like to call around here the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to Bruce Owen Wayne. He is the Highlander of today's stream. You got to be first in here to get that. If you don't know, you got to be first in here. And you know what? You got to be smart, because if you try to come in too early, I don't know why it does it, but it's not going to hold you down. You got to come in at the right time. You got to not be too early, but you can't be too slow, or you ain't going to be the Highlander of the stream. So shout out to Bruce Owen Wayne. Shout out to my main man, the one and only, the pit master himself, y'all, is in the building. Chef Mike's Roundtable, glad to have you, brother. Glad to have you in the building. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. We also have my main man, Bad Black Gamers, in the house. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. We got Boot Camp in the building. What's going on, my brother? Trey Bentley is in the house. Hashtag Lonely the Habitual Line Steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the Wilderness. Hashtag Dignity Over Vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's Babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Glad to see you in the building representing. Bad Black Gamer, what's up, my brother? What's up? Shout out to Listen, what's good, my brother? Red Pill Sleeper Cell is in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you. Shout out to all my hoes. Demonetized Lee's Ways is in the building as well. Great to have you. Great to have you. Shout out to Terenzo Jones in the building. And again, Terenzo, I apologize for what happened yesterday that I couldn't see the super chat that you put. I do apologize for that, my brother. I do apologize, because all money on the wood is good over here at the Roger Report Live. And I'm going to say shout out to all my hoes, Demonetized. He say, sir, it's showtime. Make me proud today. What I'm going to do what I can, my brother. I'm going to do what I can like I always do. Of course, I mean, how am I not going to make you proud? You over here at the best show on social media, and that's real talk. That's real talk. All right, y'all, I'm going to get into this a little bit. And I also want to say, I'm grateful for everybody who does what they do. Unfortunately, there was a Cash App that came in yesterday that I didn't even catch. I didn't even catch it in time. So I want to make sure I say this. Shout out to Bright Fanta. But I might say this a little later just to make sure he hears it. Shout out to Bright Fanta. All right, he came through with a Cash App. Now, he came through with it yesterday. He said, hey, Raj, your next Brando is on me. Stay hydrated. And I appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate that real talk. And he dropped $5 in the Cash App, but I didn't say it on air yesterday. And I do apologize about that. And that's real talk. And I see I have someone in the back. You can chill back there if you want, or you can wait a few minutes. I'll start letting people up somewhat soon, but I do give a little bit of a monologue before I start the show. So you can wait there, or you can come back in a few minutes. That's up to you. But I got you. I did see you back there, and I'm acknowledging you. So, y'all, two stories that I'm dealing with today, y'all. Two stories that I'm dealing with today. Now, both of these, of course, deal with the disrespect of Black men. And we had a nice little show when the scandal popped out about Sharon Moore. All right? But it was more to that man's story. And as it turns out, this guy who was in a great position to be the head football coach of Michigan, y'all. Yep, the Michigan University. He was the head football coach, and he got taken up out of there. And I know a lot of people were saying that, he got taken up out of there because he was messing with a white woman. Even though when I looked into the story, it turns out the man was already married to a white woman. So this wasn't just a white woman taking him down. He's already married to a white woman. He had a secondary piece out there. Okay, or as we say, the side chick was out there. And that side chick was a white woman too. Okay. hey, it is what it is. That's how he get down. All right. Now, I do remember that we did discover he doesn't have FBA descent, so I can totally understand him messing with a white woman, because a lot of people who are not FBAs, they are told to stay away from FBA people. And you know, that's just the way it goes. When you don't live in the United States of America and you're coming from somewhere else, a lot of folks will tell you not to mess with FBA people. So to me, it makes sense that he messed with a white woman to the point that he's married to one, and then he has a side piece, and that side piece happens to be white too. Neither here nor there to me. Okay, I understand it. I get it. Okay, but we had some speculation that I do believe this helps to confirm. This gentleman, being the head coach of Michigan, not winning particular games that's important to Michigan, and just not doing the best job all around. And a young coach, I believe he was only 37 years old, and he's the head coach of a major university. That's a fantastic position to be in. You know, and people was like, you know, this guy is crazy because, you know, he went and addressed this woman, you know, who said that there was a domestic violence issue. And as I remember looking into this domestic violence issue, what did I come to find out? He went over to her home. Okay. He did not beat her up at all. Not at all. Didn't lay a finger on her. The man picked up a knife. He did not threaten to cut her with the knife. No, he didn't do that. He threatened to cut himself. Okay, they made a big scene about what this guy did. Even though he went over there and he told a woman that he was having sex with, that I might hurt myself because of you. Now, what is this about? It's about the fact that his quote unquote affair came out. And I guess you got to measure how his affair came out, because the man was out there in the streets. Okay. Everybody kind of knew he was messing with his head assistant, y'all. She was his head assistant. All right. He wasn't doing no great job of like, I'm trying to make sure I hide her and nobody knows what's going on. The man was in public places with her. Now, let's keep it real. Okay. This was his head assistant. So of course she's gonna be with him from time to time doing certain things here and there. But it was like an open secret, and everybody just kind of knew what was going on. But when you the head coach of the Michigan football team, you just get a pass. That's all it is at the end of the day. You the head coach of Michigan. It's a great position to be in. As far as a job is concerned, it's hard to get a better job. I'll say that. It's hard to get a better job. Now, the man had a contract coming up for the next season that would have put him into making millions of dollars per year. And I know a lot of people just, you know, because of the way we were trained to be white supremacists. Yes, yes, y'all, black people were trained to be white supremacists. If you grew up in America and you grew up in, you know, you went to public schools, you watched television, where the things on television were white supremacy approved for the most part. You heard news stories which were white supremacy approved for the most part. You read magazines that were white supremacy approved for the most part. Okay. You participated in different events that were white supremacy approved for the most part. Guess what? You start becoming a white supremacist. Okay. I'm not going to act like it ain't taught to the general public of America, because that's what America been on since America was the America that we know it to be today. It literally outdates America. Okay. This idea that white people are superior. Now, why is that idea put so much? Because it's not true. So you have to keep reinforcing the idea that ain't true, but it is reinforced time in and time out. So Sharon Moore, being a football player, you know, he probably had a certain kind of lifestyle. Maybe since he was in high school, possibly. He made his way throughout the football ranks. He's an older guy now. Now he got a great coaching job. So he probably been dealing with certain little perks that come along with being involved with football for a very long time. And one of those perks is women. Now, he don't mess with the FBA women. And I know some people would take something like that and be offended, but hey, who is messing with FBA women? Let's be realistic about that. Okay? Most of them ain't married in the first place. So to say he ain't messing with the FBA women, I mean, he doing what most men ain't trying to do like that. All right? Now, the man got railroaded, y'all. Now, I put some links in the description, of course. And anytime you listen to the Roger Report Live, you always want to check the links in the description because things that we are referring to a lot of times will be in the links. Okay, we may, there's no telling how much we gonna say what's in the link on air, but the information is available to you. The information is available to you. It won't be a link every time, but a lot of times there are links. So now, shout out to Trail Billy. He said he had absolutely poor home management. I don't necessarily think so. Why? Because as it came out, and it just so happened, I don't remember the judge's name, but it just so happened that a judge who I've seen involved with a lot of content creation, it just so happened he ended up presiding over this case. Well, they were in there discussing this, and how was Moore arrested in the first place? They said he was a stalker. Well, he was arrested on allegedly being a stalker because the court wasn't tried yet, anything like that. So, what is the things that they came up against him with? Well, they came up with the fact that he seems like he's a danger to the public because they did put him in jail. They went through a lot of effort to publicly embarrass him. Okay. You gotta, they wanted to publicly embarrass that man. And that's just real talk. Shout out to Trail Billy. He said, you gotta know them folks gonna do you dirty though. Roger. That's poor home management. Well, I mean, them folks gonna do you dirty. I'd say that. Them folks gonna do you dirty. You know what? I can't say she didn't make her attempt to, and she didn't try to help do them dirty, but they did take it beyond what they were supposed to take it to. And I am kind of glad it ended up with the judge that it ended up with. I don't know the gentleman's name. Y'all know how I am about mentioning other content creators as it is, so I don't even remember that particular judge's name, even though I wouldn't have a problem saying his name, but I ain't telling y'all to say it either. But I'm glad it ended up in his court case so we can kind of get, probably a little bit easier to get what was going on in that particular court case. Now they got the man as if he is really pressing this woman. Now, did he go to her house after he found out that he was about to have some trouble with the law? Yeah, he went there. He went there one time, had a conversation with the woman, did not threaten her at all, only threatened to hurt himself. But of course, them folks had to justify the stuff that they were doing. And they was after this guy. So what they do, they trumped him up on charges saying that he was acting like a stalker. And he called all these times, these 12 phone calls that was in question, that thanks to this video, we now know all this stuff happened during office hours. This is the man assistant. He's called his employee and wouldn't have had to call as many times had she answered the phone. So what happened to this man? He had a woman that was doing a bad job. That's what was going on. Now, I understand she went and talked to police because she was trying to make sure she good. They were having this affair that is not allowed. And because that's what it is, y'all. It wasn't allowed for him to be messing with another person who works for Michigan. She wasn't supposed to be messing with somebody else who works for Michigan. At the end of the day, they were both in a relationship that was not sanctioned by the university. So when they found out, or when they quote unquote acknowledged that Moore was out here, clapping cheeks, yeah, they could do something about it because he's against the rules, because he's clapping cheeks they ain't supposed to clap. They ain't say you can't clap cheeks. You're just not supposed to be clapping cheeks of other university employees. When you clap your assistant cheeks, you are clapping the cheeks of another university employee. And that's just what it comes down to it at the end of the day. And it's always amazing to see how when stuff like this comes out, the woman somehow gets away with her cheeks getting clapped. Now, I get it. She gonna say, well, I felt pressured into it or something like that. Nah, I don't buy none of that stuff. All right, I don't buy none of that stuff. Now, we got that as a story we're going to deal with, but we also going to deal with what done happened at the BAFTA Awards, y'all. The BAFTA Awards is like the Oscars, y'all. It's British, I think it's like British American, I forgot what the acronym was. I'm gonna look it up again as we do the show. When I have another panelist on, I'm gonna look it up again just to say what it was. But it's basically like the Oscars. It's a big deal. It's a big deal award show. So Americans are honored at this particular award show. Okay, I've heard about Americans getting stuff. I believe that was the same people. So now you got some Americans getting up there to present an award. They got to present the first award of the night. Okay. Some people may not see that as a privilege, but I'm going to say, hey, you got a couple of brothers who got to present the first award for the night. All right. Two distinguished brothers. Okay. Great brothers. Delroy Lindo was in the house. Okay. To present an award. All right. What a brother a few years his junior of Michael B. Jordan. Two great guys with great acting careers who both represent black men very well. And we all know that famous little clip from Delroy Lindo where he was dealing with a white man on television who wanted to say nigga. And Delroy was smart enough to say, hey, why don't you just go ahead and say it? See, Delroy understood the white man wanted to say nigga. He was saying he don't want, he can't say that. No, sure you can. Sure you can. Okay? Matter of fact, I'll say it with you. Well, now he's doing an award show. All right? And during this award show, we call white people doing what white people do. Okay? We got another gentleman named John Davison. I'm going to double check his name. But John Davison, who did this film that's supposed to be released, and it's supposed to be an incredible piece about the lives of people who deal with Tourette's. Okay? And Tourette's can cause what they call them tics, y'all. They can make you do weird stuff sometimes. Sometimes you smack a little bit, you make little clicking noises, you yell out stuff, and a lot of times you just randomly yell out things. And sometimes those things are going to be inappropriate. Sometimes those things are not going to make sense according to the situation that person with Tourette's happens to be in. You could be possibly, say, in a school setting, but you may yell out something about pizza. Didn't have anything to do with what's going on, but you would just say some stuff that people would look at as weird. Okay? If they don't know what's going on or don't pick up what's going on. Some people do it here and there. And then there's other people who do it all the time. They just can't help themselves. It's something they do not control. And that's called a tic. Now, this is the thing. This director, who has this great piece that's supposed to be released, I believe it's being released later on this year, about the trials that people have to go through when they're dealing with Tourette's. Matter of fact, that's why he was at the award show, because his movie was being honored. And what did he do? Okay, he attended, you know, he got to a seat, obviously, got very comfortable. He was there to enjoy the show, this dignified show that everybody has come to. And what did he do? He saw them niggas on stage. See, I've been doing this a while, y'all. Okay. I don't really say nigga a whole lot, but I do be emphasizing how white people be looking at black folks and they really be thinking nigga. Well, I'm gonna say, man, he did a great job to display that for me. He saw the niggas come on stage. And even though we look at these incredibly accomplished actors, incredibly good brothers, great reputations, both of them, he shouted out nigga at them. They came to present the first award. What they get? Nigga. They got niggered in front of all these folks. All right? Now, there has been somewhat of a debate of whether this was on purpose, was it deliberate? Now, I'm going to say, according to what I've been watching, BAFTA, they didn't address it for about an hour after it happened. They didn't even address it for about an hour after it happened. Now, this gentleman, John Davison, he threw some other stuff out, and I put links in the description so we can kind of hear some of the stuff that he was throwing out towards some other folk. I'm just going to say, if you look at what he threw out, according to the people who threw it out at, it gets real tricky to say that these was just some ticks and this had nothing to do with what he was thinking. He threw out some very interesting ticks toward interesting people, but of course, BAFTA, even though this was a pre-recorded show, they chose not to really air everything that was going out there. But they aired that nigga part, though. When those quote-unquote niggas was on stage presenting that first award for the night. Even though they edited out other things, they left that nigga in there. And you know what? They even said to the audience, not to the people who got called nigga, but they said, they apologized to the audience if they were offended. They didn't apologize to Michael B. Jordan. They didn't apologize to Daryl Leonard. They came out and apologized to the audience about an hour after it even happened. So I guess we just don't get to those niggas in a timely fashion. We gonna treat them like what they was called, some niggas. Very interesting stuff going on today, y'all. Very interesting stuff. But I do have a guest here backstage. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him up. We got a new person in the building. Okay, I don't remember if I said it yesterday, so I'm gonna say it today. We got Bronk in the building, y'all, and just to make sure, because I welcome everybody, just to make sure, I'm gonna say, brother, welcome to the show, because I welcome everybody. At least I definitely make an attempt to welcome everybody. So welcome, Bronk, even though it's your second time, but welcome to the show, my brother.
Hey, what up, bro?
All right, and I know you haven't heard all the rules or whatever, but I'm gonna let you you get a 2-minute opening statement. Once you're done, I'm gonna actually read the rules of the show, which I'm gonna try to do, as I've said, y'all, when we get newer people coming up, and just from time to time, I'm gonna read the rules of the show so people are familiar. So you got a 2-minute uninterrupted opening statement. Do your thing, my brother. Do your thing.
All right, hey, appreciate you having me back on, man. I was in here yesterday, so some misunderstandings yesterday, to say the least. But we smoothed that out. So I'm on board. I kind of get exactly, what the ideology is in this space. What the I guess words you try to stay away from. So coming in here a lot more educated today. Just really trying to listen to more of what you got to say about this situation right here before I offer any input. But initially, what's the Michigan coach name?
Sharon Moore.
Jerome Moore. Okay. Yeah. That situation, myself, man, I would tell every man out there, singleness is an option. you know, Singleness is an option, man. If you don't want to be a one woman man, singleness is an option. When you get yourself into marriages and stuff like that, it just complicates your ability to be able to move around freely. So if you don't want to be dealing with one woman, then just be single, man. Just move around freely. You don't gotta hide nothing. You just do you. There don't gotta be no controversy behind it. So for me, it's that simple. That's my opinion on that.
Okay. And we got one more guest who already come up. So we got the champ in the building. So champ, I'm gonna let you go ahead and get your 2 minutes in, my brother. How you doing?
Roger, what's going on? I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible. All I can say is happy Black History Month. It seems like during this time of the month, this is where all the backlash that we always get, you know. And for Sharon Moore, as I said a couple months ago, this guy was an idiot. He got himself in a situation that he should have never gotten involved with, especially when you're the head coach of one of the most prestigious football powerhouse of all time. I mean, shoot, if you were offered a football coaching job between the Arizona Cardinals or the University of Michigan Wolverines, you would take the University of Michigan job rather than coaching for a poor franchise like the Arizona Cardinals. It seems like now I've heard that the story is starting to unravel just a little bit, but he still screwed himself in everything. And it's just a teachable moment that you gotta be careful, what type of group of women you're dealing with and everything. So that's all I gotta say.
All right. Now I'm gonna go over the rules of the show like I said I was gonna do. So, y'all, rule number 1, no talking over the host. Rule number 2, stick to the subject of the show. All right. Rule number 3, be respectful to others as they speak. Number 4, everyone is afforded a 2-minute uninterrupted opening statement. Use it wisely. Rule number 5, different opinions are welcome, but you must remain respectful at all times. Number 6, keep the cursing to a minimum. Yes, y'all, please keep in mind, we want some of these discussions, we want parents to feel comfortable sharing some of their discussions with their children. Okay? Probably some older children here or there. That's up to the parent to decide. But if we have curse-filled broadcasts, that you make that very difficult, because we do talk about some things from time to time that kids need to understand really before they reach their 18th birthday to have an advantage in life. Now I'm gonna say, yeah, the issue with Sharon Moore, the wrong woman was a woman who worked for Michigan also. And I'm gonna say, as men, we gotta get a lot more serious about how we're dealing with women, because again, this is another woman that he dealt with. Now, him having an extramarital affair, that's between him and his wife. Okay, that's between them. Based on what we know, it seems like she's fine with it, because again, y'all, it was like an open secret. It wasn't like he was hiding the fact that he was having an extramarital affair. If you are from that area, the people from that area say they pretty much knew what was going on. So I ain't gonna sit here and tell y'all how many women to deal with, never have. Just, my thing is you be honest with them and you let them know what time it is, so nobody's getting surprised. But at the end of the day, that his quote unquote girlfriend sold him out. It is what it is. His girlfriend sold him out. Now, I do think him being sold out by his girlfriend have something to do with the fact that Michigan just kind of wanted to get rid of him, because you had this young black head coach who only got this spot because it was Jim Harbaugh who really kind of campaigned to get him. it's not like Michigan pursued him. That was not the case. Okay, you had a white man use his influence to get him in there. They never pursued the guy. It was they kind of accepted the guy, which is a little bit different. That's a little bit different. But the police doing what they can to embarrass him and try to stain his reputation. And I'm gonna say, almost trying to put him out of football, because I'm not saying he can't bounce back. You can bounce back from certain public situations. It's just, as a black man, it's just much harder to bounce back from these situations. And then when you present a black man as a danger, especially a danger to white women. I mean, we've had cities burned down for the same type of stuff. Cities burned down for the same type of stuff. When a black man is presented as dangerous to a white woman, which I'm going to say, based on this information, there was never a danger in the first place, which I said earlier when we covered this the first time. The man threatened to hurt himself. He never threatened to hurt that woman. So they doing too much. And now there's proof that then came out that they're doing too much. That's how I'm addressing this situation. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Ain't This Some Ish, because he has joined us. But go ahead, my brother. You got the mic.
Salute to you, Roger. Thank you for letting me up. Salute to the brothers on the panel. Shout out to the brothers and the sisters in the chat. So I'm gonna handle this Michigan thing in a little bit. Well, no. Let me address this first. First of all, look, man, keep slinging your dick everywhere you can, because America has been criminalizing us for the people we have sex with, and we have been fighting in courts. We have been fighting a good fight. Sometimes you just got to get trifling with it. So if you wild out, if every black man starts wilding out so bad, they'll just start leaving you alone. So I encourage every nigga that under the sound of my voice to go bust a nut in some white woman consensually, if you can. Second point, shout out to the black judge, because this man was like, y'all trying to make this man look like some monster, and you were lying. And that is really rough language when you have a judge says the word lying, because you have to say misleading and things like that, right? Proper adjudicated vocabulary. But they were so wild with it that he had to say, y'all trying to pull the wool over my eyes. Also, shout out to the white woman defending that black man. Sometimes y'all all right. You're still my enemy, but sometimes you're all right. Now, to the bigger matter at hand. Leonard Delroy, I love most of your movies, like 80%. 20%, I don't know what the hell you're thinking. But that 80 be on point. Like, especially that series like the Good Wife, man, you be on point with your shit. And Sinners was on point too. And Michael B. Jordan, brother, it makes me ashamed to say you're a part of the tri-state area. How are you going to let some Tourette's mental retard catch L on public TV? You gotta be out of your mind. You know, if that nigga said that to me, I'm clowning his simple ass all day. You call me the N-word, well, I'm like, shut up, right? I am not going to take no L from some handicap. I'm a black man. I'm a millionaire. And then you got that little white man talking about apologizing to whoever was offended. He was talking to those two. And I'm sorry. Retardation, handicap is not an omission for racism. So that's what we're doing up in America in 2026. We saying, oh, if you have a handicap, it's okay to be racist. That's cool. That's what we're doing today. Shame on you, Michael B. Jordan. Shame on you, Leonard Delroy. And I'll pass the mic.
I'm just going to say surprising commentary. Surprising. But we have some other panelists that have joined, so I'm going to go ahead and give it to Black Uru. You have the mic.
Hold on. I just want to say, nigga, look, we look so bad in that moment that we are taking L's from handicapped niggas. Handicapped niggas we taking L's from.
Hey man, I ain't mad at what you say. I'm just saying it was surprising he said it like that, brother. It's a little surprised, but I ain't said you did nothing wrong. But Black Guru, you have the mic, my brother. You got the mic.
I think he's muted.
Yeah, Roger, thanks for having me. I hope you and the brothers on the panel, folks in the public chat, are doing well. This Jerome thing is kind of turning into something that I kind of speculated on when we talked about this before. And this is my speculation. Black Guru strikes opinion only. It's not necessarily the opinion of Roger Report Live, any related parties and or any other persons on this panel or the public chat. If I were investigating this, I would be looking for some sort of correspondence between senior level law enforcement and the higher ups at the University of Michigan. I believe that they coordinated together to try to destroy this man legally so as it would give them just cause to get out of that 8-figure contract they recently gave him. Because that's the only justification I can see for why the police would do what they did. That's what I believe happened there. I said before what I believe happened, and what was presented in the video you posted kind of confirms that, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Why would the police go through that trouble unless they were ordered to do that specifically? Why would you go after a head coach of the most prominent sports team, notwithstanding, Detroit, Michigan, and Red Wings? University of Michigan is probably the most prominent sports organization in the entire state of Michigan. Why would you go after that head coach that way unless some powerful people instructed you to do so? And I believe that's what happened there. Again, it's just my opinion. Anonymous Black Guru strikes, no, not opinion expressed to anybody else. I'm not making anybody else accountable for what I'm saying. But if I were investigating what the motivations of the law enforcement, that's the direction I would take my investigation. Now, regarding the bath incident, now this guy was supposedly making all kinds of bad comments about other people. Supposedly, it was presented in that video. But notice how none of his insults were directly against the existence of the people themselves. He used the F word against these women or said something nasty about them. But it wasn't like he didn't, for example, it was an Asian woman. He didn't make any racist Asian comment.
Exactly. There was some white women. He didn't call them the C word,
Exactly.
I mean, I would think for a white man, the C word would be very prominent in their subconscious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're doing involuntary, uncontrollable utterances, and we're calling black people niggers, then wouldn't we be calling white women cunts?
Yep.
And I forgive me for saying that, but I'm just saying that to kind of emphasize the point, Roger. I hope whoever hears that takes it in the spirit in which I intended. So I think they're trying to play in black folks' faces with that shit.
Yep.
I think it was intentional and deliberate, and it has garnered the effect, unfortunately, for which it was intended.
Yep.
Now, in my opening statement,
I would like to make an additional comment on that. I'm willing to bet
that somebody gave that stuttering motherfucker a note and said, "Read this," when those two brothers got on board up on the stage.
All right, we're gonna give it to.
And my understanding is he said that word numerous times, not just once.
Yeah, it wasn't just once. It was a couple times. Yeah, it definitely was a couple times. Shout out to America. How do I pronounce it? America. How
Yes,
do
sir.
that?
Yes, sir. In the famous words of Trick Daddy, you still a nigga. Yeah, yes, sir. Um, man, wow, you put together two great topics today. So one, Mr. Moore, man, we sat here and took this whole thing apart and told everybody in the chat and everybody that listened to that to what was going down in Michigan. And I be damned, just what we said was going down is what's going down. I don't think it's any surprise to see the court proceedings, see what was happening, see what's left out, what's been omitted, and he got a favorable judge that is on the side of uncovering the truth, or at least has enough of it in front of him to say, you know what, I can't ignore this. I can't ignore this. His only bad move was going to his girlfriend's house instead of taking his ass home after he got fired. That was his issue, and I'm with Black Uru. I think Michigan is colluding with the police to make him look bad, to oust him out of football, and to make sure that they don't have to pay him the remainder of that contract. So they're trumping up everything that they can to make him look as bad as he possibly can, where he cannot fight to get any of his bonus that he was supposed to get. Um, Moving on to that show, that award show. I think you guys have pretty much covered as much of the facts of it as possible. I think it's time for black actors to stop participating in white Hollywood. I think we have the technology. I think we have the skill, the knowledge to do independent films. You look at guys like Michael Jai White and Wesley Snipes, who have had success overseas doing independent films. I think it's time for black men and black women to stop participating in Hollywood, starve them out of our talent until they repent openly, because this stuff is happening on purpose. I listen, man. I don't seen people with Tourette's before. That was purposely done. That was purposely done. And even if you have Tourette's, that's what's in your heart. What's coming out your mouth is what's in your heart anyway. So I don't have any forgiveness for that until forgiveness is asked for. And the fact that they apologize to the audience and not to the victims, it lets you know this is still America and you still a nigga. And I land my plane there.
All right. Now I want to say shout out to Landon. He said, and now this is about Sharon Moore. He said, yeah, he's for. FBA can't claim that. That is true, y'all. He ain't one of ours like that. Not one of ours like that. And shout out to Landon. He said Tourette's like alcohol. Doesn't let out things that aren't already in you. And y'all,
Hey, Roger, let me
go
just
ahead, Ted.
say this is that right now is basically opening season. They are outright going to are making a lot of racial insults towards black folks on a constant daily basis. There was a professor who was caught on a hot mic making some of the same comments about black folks. They're doing this so they can try to trigger us and try to provoke us into, retaliating, like throwing a punch and everything else. So they're just going to try to do that to try to provoke us and everything. And eventually it's going to happen. And when that happens, you're going to have all these white supremacist incel things are going to go up there and say we're going to have to use weapons against us and everything else and try to physically harm us on every which in a way. They're going to try to justify that too.
Well, I'm going to say, y'all, it's an award show. Now, my first thought when I first heard this whole thing about somebody yelling nigga at him, what's my first thought? Who is in there and why is he there? That's my first thought. Because it's an award show. It's supposed to be a very prestigious award show. Okay. And because it's supposed to be a very prestigious award show, I'm expecting certain behaviors to be expected at an award show. And then as I'm going through story after story, I don't know who his name yet. It took me a little while before I even got his name. So I'm just like, why would they have somebody in there with Tourette's? Because I found out a guy is in there with Tourette's. Well, why would you put somebody with Tourette's? And I'm not saying nothing bad about folks with Tourette's, but I do understand there's certain situations that a person who's going to yell out certain things probably shouldn't be at. But now I'm like, okay, well, now I found out, okay, he's attached to a film that's being honored there too. Okay, I get it. There's a reason to have him in the audience. Even though he may yell out something inappropriate at any random time. So I get it. And then I look at how things happen. Okay, so he yelled this out at this person. He yelled this out at that person. Now, this was a recorded event, y'all. So BAFTA knew what was going on. When they played this recorded event, they left the niggas in there. Well, see, when he said niggas, they left them in. Now the other stuff they start editing, so you didn't hear everything that was being said. And the gentleman, and his name was John Davison, he was not asked to leave. BAFTA never asked him to leave. And I can understand them taking the stand. Hey, we invited him to be here because we was going to deal with the movie that he was the movie he created. Hey, that's on them at the end of the day. But they never asked him to leave. They was totally fine with him being there. Now I'm just wondering why you edited the other stuff out, but you left them niggas in there. That's a very
let me emphasize.
decision.
Let me emphasize the scale of the editing to emphasize the point you're making. Now, my understanding is that the program itself was over 3 hours long. The actual program, live program, was over 3 hours long, including all the performances, awards being presented, jokes told, that whole thing. Of that 3 hours program, only 2 hours of it was edited. So by my math, that means a full third of all of the content of that live event was removed from what was aired. So all kinds of other shit happened through that a whole hour of things happened that never made the air, but they left those niggas in there. They left those niggas in there.
That is the direct fault of the engineer and the producer of these things, because any live show that you watch, even sports, it's on an 8-second delay, and it's for the purpose of editing and bleeping out things and all this other kind of stuff. And the bigger the show, the more engineers and the more producers they have. This is a purposeful act. And white folk, this is what it is. They think this stuff it's funny. So I can understand. Okay, if I'm a white person and somebody, quote unquote, anonymous would call.
Well, I would
dude,
say,
nigga, that might be funny to me. It might be genuinely hilarious to me. But in a professional, hold on. In a professional setting, I have to have sense enough to say I can't let this get out, even if I do find it to be humorous.
I would say,
But go on, brother.
I would say this. Yes, it was left in, but you got to look at it from another standpoint as well. People are going to talk about it. So if I do edit it, I'm going to catch backlash. I'm going to catch backlash for that as well. So I probably might as well just keep it in because, it's just better for me to get ahead of it. If I edit it out,
it's much easier. to justify editing it out than leaving it in.
No, I personally would just leave it in and get ahead of it. Do what I did as far as like with the BAFTA did, because at the end of the day, you're gonna get backlash either way. So it's better just to address it head on. But again, this is some crazy shit, because again, when the Asian woman was there, no racial slur, just say shut up. I mean, we couldn't even get any holes in this bitch, but we got the N word, and so that's crazy. That's crazy. So at the end of the day,
No bitches, no hoes, no drunken Irish, no yellow faced bees. There was an Asian woman on there, no yellow faced bees. No, we know there's several different words for people with those small hats. We didn't get none of those small hat slurs. Yeah.
You know what?
So at the end of the day, this is why Roger talks about how black men are too nice. We gotta stop being nice, and I'm gonna blame Michael B. Jordan and Delbert Lindo for that, because they should have went ham. They should have clowned the shit out of that little tiny little bastard.
Well, I do think they should have. I do think they should have walked off. I think it would have been good if they had walked off the stage. I think it would have been good if they had walked off the stage.
Or we Will Smith that nigga. Walk up to him and say, "No."
I would have done that. That would have been a great idea. I wish he would have done that.
It turned the Will Smith into a verb, man.
But like I said,
hey, hold on, y'all, real quick. Let's be honest now. When it first got said, you don't know who said it. Remember, they said it. They're presenting the first award of the night. They don't even know that this is about to happen. They probably wasn't even aware of this guy. They probably definitely not aware of where he's sitting. This is just an in the moment type of thing. Now, if they would have known what it was gonna be, or to quote unquote take a stand, now had they said because I don't think just walking off alone would have gave the impact that you would want for something like that. But you got to be quick on your wit, and you got to, it's all about timing when things happen too. Because it would have been great for them to say something like, because they did say we're here to present the first award of the night. Then the nigga came. Now, if they would have said something like, "Oh, excuse us, we thought we were welcome, but we see we're not," and then walked off, now you make the big impact.
That's right.
You got to do a little something to make your impact bigger than the impact of the person.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that saying something would have been even more impactful. But if they walk off in the middle and not present that award, oh no, that's going to send reverberations for sure. In fact, a lot of times it's not saying something that makes the even bigger impact. Because then you lead to all kinds of speculation and confusion about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And you can sometimes appear even more honorable by not saying anything at all and refusing to even speak of it. I think, and then if you reporter asked me about it, I think it was already said during the program. That was already said during the program. What else do I have to say about it?
I want to read a couple of headlines about the event.
As soon as that N-word came across, I'm like, oh, that's what your mom was fucking last night, and walked off the stage.
Hey, read these headlines.
That would have been perfect statement.
Hold on one second. Somebody said something about headlines.
Yeah. So here are a couple of headlines.
All right, well, hold on real quick. That's Brunk. After Brunk, I gotta get we got a new guest up. Words have the power. So go ahead with those headlines, Brunk, and then we're gonna give it to Words Have the Power.
All right, this is NPR. BFTAs apologize after guest with Tourette syndrome uses racial slur. And this is CNN. British Film Awards interrupted by racist slur from men with Tourette syndrome. So even the way that the news channels are marketing the incident is highly questionable. It's almost as though they're also protecting the man who said the thing by letting everyone know that he has so-called Tourette syndrome. So I find that interesting myself.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say the fact that it took about an hour for them to even address it, that's just poor. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like that's poor management overall. And I'm gonna say this because You say this about the producer and the engineers. I'm gonna say this, y'all. The engineers know who they work for. You know, when stuff like this happen, and I'm saying that because other things were edited while some things were not. The engineers know who they work for.
Well,
It
look,
is what it is.
I mean, unless the engineer is also a producer of the program, him or herself, he doesn't or she doesn't have any control over the final cut and or what is aired. They're just a technical professional ensuring that things are recorded and the audio is proper and all of that. You know, that's like, yeah, I built the house that the Klan operate in, but I'm not necessarily in the Klan or knew that the Klan they were going to make this a Klan house. So I don't in any way blame the engineer per se. I totally blame the producers and or the distributors of that program because they wouldn't be in the position of authority to determine what's actually the final cut and then determine what's actually aired. They're the ones who would be in that position.
Well, I'm saying that's what I meant by that. The engineer can only has so much power. What comes out, he don't get a final stamp on. So I'm actually saying I ain't really even blaming the engineers because they know who they work for. All they do is pass stuff up. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's about who gets to make final decisions about what gets to go on air or not. So I'm not even blaming the engineers. I just want to make that clear. I ain't blaming them. Okay. And at the end of the day, even if you think it was them, again, they know who they work for. So if they don't want if they don't want nigga on air a couple different times, then the producer don't have it on air a couple different times. It just is what it is on that note. But let me get this gentleman in so for his opening statement. Words have the power. You got the mic.
Yeah. Raj, thanks for having me up, Dan. They peace to the panel in the chat, all the individual line steppers. Yay, yay. In regards to the bathroom, man, like Bronx was just saying, and you guys alluded to that the media is trying to cover the fact that this guy was a filmmaker. He's participating in the program. So, so what did that say about him as a filmmaker? Does he make these type of Tourette's outbursts when he's producing films and working with black folks or any other ethnicity? I mean, I guess on the media side, it seems like they're going to try to spin it so that he doesn't get blackballed or doesn't have his last movie made. But I've dealt with people. I have people in my family with Tourette's, and it seems, as well as a few other mental and emotional challenges. And there's ways you can talk to them to get them right, to help them understand right from wrong, even if they do have a disorder. So that him doing that, yelling at racial slurs were not cool. And folks defending them were not cool. And with the engineering process, having to add a stint of doing digital, filmmaking and editing and all that, but that stuff could have been taken out of there. That stuff could have been blurred out. There could have been a vocal overlay on it. It could have continued the same way it continued. And instead of having the word nigga said, why not put something positive in there that's uplifting or motivational or encouraging? So when it re-airs, they don't hear it cancels out the fact that they heard nigga while they were on the stage presenting, or the other racial slurs or the other obscenities that were shouted out when the other people were up there presenting as well. To turn a negative into a positive. They didn't make the choice to do that. And as far as the old Michigan coach man, they trying to throw him under the bus. And they are definitely trying to throw him under the bus, which is kind of jacked up still too. But I think it's open season on them using some form of leverage to try to bring us down and make us feel less than. I think, you know, they know the world is kind of going to hell in a handbasket now. A lot of political systems are failing. A lot of they're not having the same support they used to have, and they're kind of a little slick, trying to throw it back on us as black men. You know, because we are being shown that we can be leaders and we are leaders, but they don't want to let that happen by any means necessary. And this is that show was probably one of those means. And I'll land my plane there. I'll add a little bit more later. Thanks for having me out, Roger.
All right. Shout out to Black Epstein, y'all. He makes some very interesting commentary from time to time. Black Epstein says, congrats to LBJ. If y'all don't know, that's LeBron James. He said for 40K points with the Lakers. I mean Lakers. Now, that's a very interesting way to put it. That's a very interesting that's a very interesting way to put it. And I am going to say, y'all, shout out to the content creators, because guess what, y'all? When I see a story, you know, I check into stuff to see what's going on. Content creators seem to be able to edit it out just fine. I'm not even talking about big companies, y'all. I saw just regular everyday people who happen to be content creators who said, hey, they gonna cover this too. And they played it and they edited it out. So BAFTA did exactly what BAFTA wanted to do.
Absolutely.
You know, now, and I'm gonna say BAFTA did a very similar thing to what Michigan did. Or no, I ain't gonna say Michigan. I'm gonna say the police because of how it's the same spirit with just two different actions that would kind of got displayed in the same way. For Michigan to take 12 phone calls that happened during business hour from an employer to an employee and make it seem like he's stalking her so they could do what they wanted to do. To me, that's the same spirit as the people who was moving that BAFTA to make all these other adjustments because somebody had Tourette's, but didn't make the adjustments when he said the word nigga towards some black folks.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to approach it from another angle as well. So I asked myself the question, what has BAFTA's viewership ratings been over the last 10 years? Okay. And I found out that their viewership actually peaked in 2014 at just a little over 6 million viewers. But since then, it's been on a steady decline, and it's baselined out at between 2.5, 2.7 million. However, because of this recent controversy, I believe, they actually shot their numbers back up to in the 3 million range. So I'm looking at it as well from an angle of white people will do anything to sell something, even if that includes racism, right? And so that's a very controversial thing that happened on their show. And I'm sure it has increased their viewership for at least this year's ceremony. The consequences might come next year. However, they've been stagnant as far as getting viewers to watch their show. So I think that's a bigger piece of the puzzle as well, because we really know that these people are immoral and they'll do anything for money. And this is just, I believe, another example of that as well.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say that BAFTA actually thanked the people for being considerate of a Tourette's outburst. They literally did that. So consequences? Nah, bro. I don't see no consequences coming at all. I looked into it, y'all. I see little clips about stuff here and there. I try to make sure that when I come on to talk about any subject, I got good information to go on. Yes, I saw them also make a statement that thanked everybody for being considerate of that man and dealing with his Tourette. Hey, matter of fact, literally said that's how Tourette's is for some people. That's how it shows up in some people. So, and again, he left on his own. Mr. John Davidson was never asked to leave by BAFTA. He left on his own. Now, I don't know exactly when he left. I didn't find that part out. Obviously, he got a couple things in that I ain't gonna say he wanted to get out.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. I ain't gonna say he quote unquote wanted to get out, but he left when he was ready. So I guess when he put out enough, then he decided to leave because Bastard was cool. Bastard said, "Nah, you stay here as long as you want to. We voted you here. We appreciate how you're getting down. We understand your Tourette's, and we see it's doing some interesting things. Don't worry about it. We gonna edit some stuff to make sure you look cool. But them niggas, we leaving those in. We want people to know what side of the fence you on, because we rocking with you at the end of the day. And we gonna apologize to people if they was offended, and we gonna appreciate people's, support of a man dealing with with this Tourette's battle. We appreciate y'all's support. And shout out to Terenzo Jones. He said the way this society mocks Tourette's syndrome, anyone can have an outburst. Yet I could be wrong or right in thinking neuro-linguistic programming can be a solution to correct it. Yes, this sounds like an excuse. Salute. Now, and I'm gonna throw this out there real quick, y'all. Just on how it came, I did think to myself, it's real convenient that he has Tourette's, so he could just be there and yell out nigga and can't nobody really say nothing about it.
I'd slap the shit out of him.
Well, look, to take a page out of Black Guru's book. This is part of the pussification of America, man. Where somebody, because they claim they have some type of disorder, gets to behave the way that they want to behave. If somebody is in the LGBTQ community, they can behave how they want to behave. If somebody is anything deviant of normal society, we can just do what we want to do and blame it on that thing, and you have to give me special treatment. This is the pure pussification of America, man. When collectively, they should just throw his ass up out of there.
Now let me address this, y'all. I did go back to look up what it means again because I forgot earlier. This y'all got to keep in mind. This is the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. That's what BAFTA stands for. British Academy of Film and Television Arts. Even though America and Britain runs kind of neck and neck in certain things, this is the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. But I am covering it because the nigga got thrown at 2 Americans. Okay? I don't act like I know exactly what's going on in other people's countries, but this was thrown at a couple of Americans. Okay? It is what it is. And they just getting the show started.
Is Delroy an American? I know his family background is Jamaican. I think he was born in Britain. I don't know.
I think so. I think
he has ever.
I'm gonna look it
I
up.
thought he was born in Britain.
He was born in Jamaica originally.
His parents.
He was originally born in Jamaica.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say it's even worse because I just put his name in. It come up British actor about Delroy. So they doing it to their own. This is even worse.
So it shot at him.
I mean, well, he got shot regardless, but it's just even worse that I put it in and
I'm
come up
seeing
British
here
actor.
he was born at the University Hospital Lewisham in Lewisham, London, England. That's where it says he was born in 1952.
Hey,
so he's as British by birth as they come. He was born dead smack in the middle of London.
Hey, they treat the bloke like that.
So I bet Delroy was even more angry about what happened than even Michael B. Jordan was. In fact, I think they said Delroy left early or something because of it. I think that was particularly a shot at Delroy.
There you go.
Well, I'm gonna say well they clearly I'm gonna say the award show clearly appreciated what John Davidson did. Because if it takes you an hour to address what he did,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, you thank the audience for being so understanding for what he did. Now what are you telling
Well,
me
but
by
they
making these guys?
they had long. You said it took an hour to, but that's not really what happened, Roger. It's actually worse than what you described because what was aired was not a live program. It was not a live program. It was not like it happened and then the program was over, and then an hour after that they addressed it. No, what you saw was a recording of a program that had happened prior to that. So they had all kinds of time to come up with a story or to apologize in advance. They could have said if they were going to air it anyway, which they did not have to do, they could have said in advance of releasing the program, that there is going to be some offensive language in this program because such and such has Tourette's and blah, blah, blah. They could have presented that before they, at the beginning, or as a prelude to the presentation of the program. They did not do that. They waited after they aired it, after people reacted to the recording they aired, then they responded an hour later, which suggests to me that they never even actually intended to respond to it or to even have to respond to it.
Black Rule.
I mean, that's the arrogance of these
Maybe
people.
another angle is they wanted to wait to see what the overall reaction to it would be. Because I believe they use that method a lot. I believe they'll do stuff intentionally, and then
Yeah, that's true.
they'll look at what the public response to it is to see where the suspecting public is in their mentality. So if there's no real collective outrage to what happened, then that gives them information
Then they don't
about
have
how
to
they can go
respond.
about how they can go about doing and conducting business. So when you see actors, who are being essentially called niggas to their face on stage in front of a bunch of white people, and the response isn't slapping the shit out of them or, respectfully leaving the event altogether. And then furthermore, when the public gets their hands on the information, they see it themselves, their response isn't to boycott the award, and to pledge to never watch it again after that. If that's the public outcome, they realize that publicly we still accept racism.
I
Yeah, I
think
mean, it does appear to be some kind of trial balloon for, just seeing how far they can go doing that kind of thing. I mean, your analysis appears to be apt to me.
I mean, we getting down on this nigga in America because we gonna use his work phone calls against them so we can make sure he lose a bunch of money that he was owed. And now we gonna get down on these other niggas from a British perspective. We gonna get down on these niggas too. Because we had all time in the world to fix what could seem like a problem to people, but we believe it's not really a problem.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let me elaborate a little bit more. And I don't want to change the subject, but I just want to use this as an example. When you look at the releasing of the Epstein files, all right, I think they released the Epstein files for the same purpose, to just test the public reaction to it. You got to understand, all of these elitists are pedophiles. They were on the island with this man. You hear what I'm saying? He rubbed shoulders with so many high-ranking politicians. So releasing the files and allowing people to read just the, atrocities of what that man had done, the fact that the Americans collectively have not overthrown any politician essentially that was connected with Epstein.
Well, I don't want to go in that direction because now you're dealing with a whole lot more power and you dealing with billionaires
Gotcha.
and things
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rank these folks in the same realm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I mean, Michael B. Jordan, Daryl Lindo, they're up there from a society standpoint because they do have somewhat.
Wait a minute, ranking which people in the same realm?
Well, I'm saying I know
I
the
mean,
Epstein.
any associate. Well, I'm saying the BAFTA
Yeah, that's a pretty big
is the
organization.
Oscars equivalent.
Uh-huh.
The BAFTA is the Oscars equivalent. I mean, is the equivalent to the Oscars. Anybody who has any association in leadership position of BAFTA, very likely were on that island or close to people.
I mean,
who
good point.
were
Good
on
point.
that. I'm telling you, it's very likely there's some overlap between those folks.
But
Good
to close
point.
my point, what I'm really trying to hit at here is they'll do things like that. They'll run a trial test to see what the public reaction would be, to see how much the public is actually willing to accept from the elite. Will we accept racism? Will we accept pedophilia? Right? Now, the same people who are fake outraged about the Epstein or shit are the same people who will praise our founding fathers. So they really don't care about child pedophilia or human trafficking.
Well,
Because
hold on, because my
yeah,
thing is I don't even want to change the subject of the show because you gonna go in a whole
I'm
different
using that.
thing.
Okay,
And
I
that,
don't want to go down too down that rabbit hole, but I'm
but
using that
I'm
to
gonna
say
say
that
I don't think what happened here was a test at all. You know what I'm saying? What happened to Sharon Moore? That's not a test. That's we gonna treat niggas how we want to.
yeah, not him
What
per se, but what
what
happened to them in that reward show, I believe. So yeah,
and what happened to him at that war show? I think that was clearly we gonna treat niggas how we want to. Because if you go through the trouble of editing the other stuff out, but you leave the niggas being yelled at them in, to me that's a clear indication this what we own. Especially with the fact that it was a recorded event. This was not a live event. This what we own. I don't think that was. I don't see that as a test at all. I
yeah,
really don't. This
yeah.
to me that was this what we own.
I respectfully disagree. I think that it was a test to test our tolerance, really. And as long as we continue to show them that we tolerate this type
Well,
of shit, I believe
I
they're gonna
I
keep
don't
doing
know if those are mutually exclusive. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, in certain strategies, certain things people do can have multiple purposes and objectives. So I don't know if one is necessarily I don't know if one is necessarily exclusive of the other. And I think, for example, I think part of it was you have these two very uh, charismatic, highly successful black men, one American, one British, their very own Britain, standing up there, very elegant, very gallant, people very admiring their presence and their appearance. And you get to call them nigger for the whole world to see and for them to have to respond to. And I mean, because maybe there were other black presenters, probably, but that effect is going to be much greater when you got those particular black ass being called nigger. I mean, Michael B. Jordan is the biggest black movie star going right now, right?
Yeah.
Easily. So when you call him a nigger, it's gonna be now. If it had just been some African or Jamaican presenter or whatever, it would have been bad. Yeah, I'm not saying it would not have been bad. It's very different calling Michael B. Jordan nigger. Coming off of Sinners. And by the way, I think there's a connection between what's happening and the great and unique success of Sinners, and the fact that it has done so well without it didn't have any white saviors, right?
You're stealing
Made
my
a lot
thunder.
of money.
You
Okay,
stealing my
well, I'll
thunder.
let you do
He
your
I
ain't
thing.
was
got
gonna go there.
Black Guru. You do what you doing. You do what you do,
No.
Black Guru. This dude ain't got no thunder.
He's stealing my thunder. I was patient.
He ain't even
I was.
No,
he ain't even watched Thor in the movie. He ain't
I
never
don't,
even
I
watched the
don't,
Thor movie.
I don't need all the sunlight. So if you moving in a similar direction, please go
No.
ahead.
You don't even know
Going
how
in
to
the.
spell Thor. But go ahead.
You know what? You know what? I got you spell some other four-letter words for you. Keep messing with me. No, but Black Guru is absolutely 100% correct. I think this is good old-fashioned jealousy. Sinners is probably the number one movie in box office this past year going around. Ryan Coogler being the producer of this thing, and these two guys playing three of the major roles, if you count the two that Michael B. Jordan played in this film. All of the great actors in this film, most of them were black, and then you had one white supporting actress. I'm gonna give her some credit too. This was a fantastic film that was put together, and these white folks just don't like that these brothers is getting this kind of shine. And Michael B. Jordan right now being the king of the mountain and acting all over the world, yeah, I probably would have called him a nigga too if I wasn't black.
Well, let me
This
just
is
throw this in here too. I believe that white woman you're referring to, she part black too.
yeah,
And she not necessarily hiding that in Hollywood. So yeah, it's these niggas are too successful and getting too much attention. And I do think that's mainly why.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got there both co-stars of this particular movie that people keep ranting and raving about, even though it's been out for such a long period of time. So yeah, I probably some jealousy in there, you
But
know.
the industry of Hollywood, or the industry of the movie business, I shouldn't, I guess, limit it to Hollywood because we're talking not just the United States, but the film industry outside of the United States. They're perturbed by sinners for numerous reasons. Some we've cited, but also the deal that that Coogler did, where with the reversion of ownership of that movie back to him. That's the thing that's got a lot of people, small-hatted people especially, quite bothered and perturbed by things. And so it's not just the success of Sinner itself that's the deal. It's the business around it, the business issues, the powers and the leverage around it. Look at it this way: Kugler's children and grandchildren will own that movie and anything that comes from that movie. To those people, they don't like that kind of shit. They don't like that kind of shit at all.
Man, I'm telling you,
Yeah, you
bro.
niggas ain't supposed to own nothing. Y'all just supposed to
Hell
perform
no.
for us.
Nope.
Yeah.
Right.
Now shout
100%
out to
ownership. And
And
all
if
right,
you don't understand what I'm saying, search for Ben Affleck talking about that on All the Smoke. Search for
Yeah,
Ben Affleck talking about that on All the Smoke, because
this is
he tells you about what that really means.
yeah.
this
Now,
is this is similar to
hold fast,
Ray
hold fast.
Charles.
Let me get the super
Oh,
chat.
go ahead.
Let me get the super chat.
Go ahead.
All right.
My bad.
Shout out to Gregory Scotland. He said, "Hey Roger, we just had a female here in Detroit that had been on HGTV, used the N-word years ago, and it caught up with her. And of course, she did the bogus apology. Another trial balloon. Well, I'm gonna say I'm glad that it caught up with her to a certain degree. I don't wish for bad things to happen to people, but I can make an exception here. So I'm glad it caught up with her. But the thing is, how do they handle it once it catches up with her? Because what I perceive, this was those good folks over there, at BAFTA was telling the people in that area, and I know it's not America, it's Britain, but I think that was their signal trying to tell people, don't call them niggas. That's what it looked like to me. Now, I'm an outsider, technically, because I'm an American, but from the way I see it looking in, I think Bastard was trying to tell the people of his society, go ahead and call them niggas, it's cool. Do y'all know what nigga means? Y'all know how this was a bad, ugly term from America? Well, call them niggas. That's what y'all need to do. Call them niggas. You know? To me, it was Bastard encouraging white folks to call black people niggas, because again, if you edited the other stuff out, but you left that in, you did that deliberately. And if it was about John Davison and you really felt some kind of way, or you really felt like it was uncontrollable, you would have edited that out too. And you did apologize only to people if they were offended. And then you came back and you said, thank you for understanding. Because people didn't go into a quote unquote outrage at that particular time. When you thank somebody for understanding, that means I don't care what I did. I appreciate the fact that y'all good with it. Because I did do that on purpose. So, to me, all of this is very deliberate, which again is just like Sharon's situation, which is why I kind of put them together. You embarrassed a man big time to try to keep him out of college football for a long, long time. By not just saying he messed with somebody who he worked with, which he wasn't supposed to do. But people will look past that, and they know people look past that. So now you tried to make him seem like he's a threat to some white woman, so everybody be shaky about him being in the room.
Hey, speaking to the Sharon
well,
situation.
sure. Moore's biggest offense is Indiana won the national championship. Indiana has never won the national championship. If Indiana has won the national championship, and the year before them, Ohio State, your biggest rival, won, that's why Michigan wanted to get rid of him. Look, if Michigan made it to the Big 12 or top 8 or whatever of the teams that played for the national championship, we never hear about that shit. They bribe that woman, they pay her off, they hush her up, and that's as far as that whole thing goes. That's Moore's problem. Moore's problem is he's not as good as his prior boss, Harbaugh. That's his problem.
Now, without disagreeing with that,
if you're at Michigan, if Indiana can bribe up enough guys to win a national championship, then there's no excuses for Michigan.
Now without disagreeing with that,
that's why they want to get rid of him.
No, I get that, but without disagreeing with that, they already had the power to disagree with him because he was technically breaking the rules. What's the point of trying to embarrass him publicly through law enforcement coming in on him and putting him as a threat to white women? What's the point of that? Because you already had enough to get rid of.
Well, I mean, the point of that though is you don't want to have to pay him. That's why you do that. I mean, you don't care if he gets another job. In fact, Harbaugh probably, he's supposed to be tight with Harbaugh. Harbaugh will probably hire him a couple of years from now when don't nobody care about this. So he'll work again. He'll work again. He's done nothing. And in fact, if he's exonerated of wrongdoing, he'll have the benefit of, how he was mistreated by Michigan and by the police to help him in his future endeavors. So he'll likely coach again. But if I want to get out from that 8-figure deal I got with you, I'll destroy your ass. Do that. Of course I will.
Yeah, but I'm saying he was already breaking the rules, so I'm sure they could have fired him and they still could have got it out of that.
It wasn't for cause though. It wasn't for cause. And those contracts have when you are dealing with that level of money, they're very specific as to what is and is not allowed. And here's the problem. People are fucking in sports organizations all over the country. When Ime Udoka got caught up with the white woman, he wasn't breaking the rules for Boston. What happened was they spun it into some kind of harassment thing. But his merely having sex with the woman was not against the rules at Boston. And so what they
Wait,
do
wait.
is in a lot of these sports environment, it's a lot of sex going on, you know, and so because of that, they have to be careful about who they punish and who they don't punish related to that stuff. So then they have to turn it into something else. If they turn it into a criminal act, that's why the harassment thing becomes so important, because then it goes from, some policy, or whether it breaks some corporate policy or not, then it goes to crime. And once it goes to crime, then you can dissolve any agreement at all.
Mm.
And I do understand that, and I accept that's how it is. All I'm saying is they had enough to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because he was clearly breaking the rules because he was having sex with his assistant, which just put him in a position where
You you
there's
you
no
don't
win on
you don't know you do Roger. You do not know what that contract actually says in that regard. You don't know that.
it. I give
You
you
don't
that.
know
I
that.
give you that.
In
But it
some
ain't like
case,
we,
and
yeah.
in some cases, you can fire him, but you still have to pay him. In
Right,
some
right.
cases,
Black
No,
Joe, let me speak
I
to
get.
that. Let me speak to that. Let me speak
Wait,
to that. Let me speak
I'm
to that.
gonna tell you how. I'm gonna tell you how you know there's some language in the contract. It would have been much easier for them to fire him for sexual harassment. Would have been much
no.
easier
If it
to do
was
that.
no, it would have been easy. No, no. You fire him from fraternization. You had
Yeah,
sex with
that
an
too.
underling, and that's all you if the contract was structured that way, that discarded the term, that contract, that's all you would need it. You wouldn't have needed to bring the police into it. But obviously
Yep.
that was not covered in that contract. That's why you bring the police into it.
It's the other way around. It is covered in the contract, particularly pertaining to her, that she can't bring a sexual harassment claim against him or the university because they know what's going on. These are not
No, but no, well, no, you wouldn't. It's unlikely that state law would
Right.
disallow a woman from being able to bring a sexual harassment case.
Let me let me
That's
speak
But
to
very
it
that. Let me
does
speak to
unlikely,
save
that,
her
Black Joe.
job.
especially in this current legal environment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
let me
but,
speak
but
to that.
but I do want to say it will save her job if they go after him for having sex with somebody who works for Michigan. Well, she works for Michigan too, so I can see them doing all that extra to save that white woman's position. But go ahead, bro.
All right. So what I
No,
hear
but she
Black
can't.
Ooze
But
saying,
Roger, she's good. She's good regardless, because if nothing else, she can sue
she can
the
sue Michigan.
Michigan. She'll get a lot more money. She'll get a lot more money suing Michigan than just keeping that $60,000
yeah,
a year job or whatever.
Well, I'm
Yes.
just saying that based on what's in the contract, if they are not supposed to be sleeping with each other, she just as wrong as he is if it's not a criminal case. That's all I'm saying. So you can't
Correct.
sue
But
over.
she's not a party to his contract. But hold on, she's not a party to his contract. She's not a party to his contract.
No, I understand that, but whatever her contract is more than likely is if it's no fraternization for him, it's also no fraternization from her in separate contracts. So she just as
But
wrong.
but
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 to
here
save that
here
white
here's
woman,
where but here's how you get around that. He was her
He's the
direct
authority.
superior. And
Yeah,
because
he's
he's
the
her
authority
direct
figure.
superior, that neutralizes that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was afraid
she
I
can
was
say,
going to lose my job, etc., or whatever.
right.
That's an
yep,
easy win in
yep,
the civil
all
case.
yep.
right. Well, go ahead, Brock. Go ahead and
So
get in, brother. What you
so
trying to say?
what I see him explaining this as really is a weaponization of the legal system by a institution in order to get out of a contract that they no longer want to be in. And
Yes.
on a smaller scale, we actually see a lot of that happen. Now think about orders of protection, right? A lot of black women are using these orders of protection to get out of the marital contract with the man they don't want to be with anymore. I've had it happen to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's a unilateral. contract, and it's an uphill battle trying to prove that you did not abuse that woman. And if you don't do your own record keeping, if you don't record every phone call, if you don't screenshot every text, if you don't get cameras around your house and in your house, it's going to be an uphill battle trying to prove to a judge that these accusations against you are false. So even on a lower scale, I see what Michigan could potentially be doing to Sharon Moore. That's happening to black men every day. Where black women are weaponizing the system against them, getting the police involved essentially to try to win favor in the divorce proceedings, to try to make the father out to be abusive so that they don't get things like joint shared legal custody, right? Because then if he's abusing a woman, then he also must be abusing the kids or be violent towards them. So you can actually use these things in the exact same way the Black Guru is describing that you can use them. You can use domestic violence suits to weaponize it against someone that you're trying to get out of something with.
Well, unfortunately, that's starting to turn into standard operating procedure for
I'm
black
telling you,
women.
man.
You know,
the attorneys train them to do it. The attorneys train them to do it. You know, with my particular situation, I was able to record enough to show the judge, fortunately, that hey, you know, this woman is not afraid of me. And I was able to get mine dropped off for the strength that she walked into my home one day. And I got that on camera. So
you real scared, but you just coming in the house. Shout out to you for that. Congratulations on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Terenzo Jones. He says, respectfully asking, has anyone researched the word troglodyte? I haven't researched. He said, type it in a search and notice what word pops up afterwards. Nigeria without an IA. I see. That was an interesting way to put that in the super chat right there. The Nigeria without an IA. Yeah, we know, and now we know what we left with. The same thing some guy with Tourette's had to scream at some black men. You know, and you know, and I mean, to me, I ain't giving none of this a pass. To me, everybody is doing this stuff purposefully. You know, and you know, black men do really need to accept that racism is really just a thing about putting the target on the black man's back. And it's going to be expressed in all kinds of ways and avenues. So to me, this is just two different ways it's being expressed. You have one where somebody's where it seems like someone's using the criminal justice system to show somebody he's a nigga. And another one is they're using an award show to show a lot of somebody that they a nigga. You know, and we gonna start you off right, because we gonna bring out two prominent niggas that's having great success right now. They movie been talked about since it came out, and if my memory right, I think this movie came out of like June of last year. Like, and people still talking about this movie. Well, guess what? As soon as you get on stage, you just niggas now, and we gonna reduce you. You know, and I want everybody else calling you a nigga. And how am I gonna really kind of instill that I want other people calling you a nigga? Because whatever this guy say, who happens to have Tourette's, we're going to thank you for your understanding about letting all that other stuff slide that he say. But ain't none of that stuff going to be as bad as how he addressed these two gentlemen. And when we do the editing work, we definitely going to make sure we play this on air so y'all can see us getting away with calling him a nigga. You know? Now, I'm not going to... I'm not going to say that Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo did anything wrong and how they decided to handle it. I don't think it would have been the exact right move to actually go punch them because of what the setting was. And it's too much distance anyway. Plus, you would have had to figure out who said it in the first place. There was way too much to do than just have a natural reaction of hitting somebody that was close to you.
I would have said I had Tourette's, and
you can't Tourette's your way of going into the crowd and searching somebody out, then punching them. You know. Now, if you have a sudden reaction, a sudden reaction, I can apologize. That was like temporary insanity. That just, I was just so taken aback that this was even said, you know, and I just couldn't help myself. If they close to you, but there's, you know, you can't just hit somebody. You got to run into a crowd and figure out who it is first. So, you know, and remember, this is the first award of the night. So he hadn't been doing it already to people. These are the people, you know, Michael B. Jordan and Darren Leno is who he started it with, as far as what we know. You know,
Roger, he didn't say it at the pre dinner before the awards show to nobody.
I didn't see anything about that. That's what I tell you. It didn't come up. Not in my research. Didn't come up. It seemed
Yeah,
like he
see,
was acting
I
just
would
fine till that
push
award
back.
show started. That's what it seemed like.
I would push back at the selectiveness, the selectivity of his actions and what he said during when things occurred and what things were said. And I know there are a lot of people who want to advocate for this man and want to give, you know, there are these cries of ableism, which I guess is supposed to be the equivalent of racism to people who are disabled in some way. So that's ableism, I guess. But I'm calling bullshit. You know, unless he was calling everybody out of his name out of their names during that program, then I'm presuming that was conscious and intentional.
And that's why I kind of put the two links in the description so y'all could kind of get the idea of what he was saying to other people, you know, so you don't have to assume it's just as bad or whatever the case is, you know. I was trying to find proper links to express everything he expressed. And
I mean, he ain't called none of the women. Did he call any of the women bots or hoes or bees or
Cunts,
sluts? Or I mean, you know, no any kind of
Nah, just that
drunken
word.
Irish people,
Just that
or
word. That's
did he
the only
call any
word.
people Nazis? Did he use any of those? You know, I mean, there's so many slurs, right, that you can use that are nouns,
inbred bastards.
well-known
Oh my
noun.
goodness. Oh
You
my.
know, yeah, you know.
well, I'm gonna
He
say,
ain't call nobody a toothless cunt. It had to be some toothless people in that British audience. So it's just so
Even
much,
fat.
you know.
well,
You know,
I'm gonna
it's so
honestly
many,
say,
but you can pull that N word out. You can pull that up from the bowels of
That mother,
hell.
that mother was in the chamber. It was cocked and ready.
I mean,
Exactly,
it was the
exactly.
first award of the night, so that kind of say was in the chamber. And I'm gonna state,
Yeah,
I took a little time
yeah.
to really go out and find the other slurs that he used, and I came up blank. Just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I took the time out, and that's why I can tell y'all wholeheartedly, the content creators that put up content, they had no problem editing it out. It was plenty of them that just said what was said, but we just didn't want to air it. You know what I'm saying? It was people that said, well, you know, I bleeped it out, but this kind of what he did. You know, he said the N word in this space, right? So people was doing it. So the fact that just regular old everyday content creators was doing it. And I ain't even talking about the professional people. I'm not talking about like an Entertainment Tonight. I'm not talking about people like that. I'm talking about somebody who got a room in their house and they make content. They had no problem
Exactly.
editing this stuff out.
You mean to
Yeah.
tell me them people are better engineers and producers than the people at After? No, man. You
Yep.
making stuff up, Roger. You making stuff up, Roger.
Random people who I don't know if they make any significant money because of their content seem to be able to handle the problem just fine.
Hey,
But
Maybe they was
Bass
too busy
couldn't.
smoking meth to do the editing. They
oh,
didn't
man,
need a
they
young
got
meth head
better.
to nobody.
Man, these podcasters got better equipment than y'all think. That's what it is. That's what it is. You know, y'all hard on Bafta, man. Y'all
If they don't
hard
say
on
it though,
Bafta.
if they don't tell you something,
Well, I'm saying, man, y'all wouldn't believe how many videos I went through, and that's real talk. You wouldn't believe how many
Hey,
videos I went through.
I'm gonna see
Bafta
if I can
want to
purchase
know. I
me some
mean,
equipment from BAFTA. I want me a laptop from BAFTA so it don't edit nothing, and I can put me
Matter
and
of fact,
YouTube stream up.
it
I
got so
remember when I
bad.
was young. I remember when I was young and I would watch Farrakhan refer to, them as devils, right? And I used to think, it just seems like an excessive term to use in my young mind, my young 70s or whatever mind, right? Fucking devils, man. Like I say, I don't think some of these people. I don't think some of these people are like human beings in the way that we're human beings.
Like they don't have a soul.
I think they are a manipulated deviancy of humanity.
Well,
I
I'm
do.
gonna say, their representation as a group. Something I've said multiple times, y'all. They seem to be people that like to kill, steal, and destroy.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that. You took man.
That's what
That's the
it's.
definition, right?
And some of you brothers, be careful about having sex with them women because they trying to take some of your humanity. They're trying to take some of your real humanity. And I know this is way off topic, but when I see the behavior of some of these people, what happened with Moore, it's kind of like a virus, or ironically, like Smith alluded to in The Matrix. It ain't right, man. They ain't right, man. They ain't right. Now,
I
God
mean,
bless the few of you are out there who mean well, but y'all ain't right, man.
well, as I also said before, when it comes to white folks, I can deal with them on an individual basis. I just don't deal. I don't like dealing with multiple of them at the same time. That's just me.
Yeah. Then
You
they get
get.
to start asking you questions. Can I say it? Can I say it?
Yeah, why you need my permission?
hey, man, the dude from Bafta, his question is, did I lie? Was it not two niggas on stage? I was just telling y'all who's up there.
well, and I do want to say that there was a little bit. There was some obvious trying to cover him up or give coverage to him. Because, like I said, when I was going through it, y'all, it took me a while to even figure out to see anything that mentioned his name. It took a while for me to find anything that mentioned John Davidson's name. Everything I was seeing at first, it was some guy. They didn't even allude that he was a person who was in the film industry at first. Someone in the audience said. They was trying to make it out like he could have been like one of them people that fill the seats, or it was like a random person that got tickets to go to the event who might have been in the balcony or something. And it's one of the people that's literally there to be honored. Because his film was being honored, I would say.
Well, and
I'm curious.
somebody also said he was near a mic. Now, if that's true, that's some devilish shit, man. That's devil behavior, man. That's devil behavior.
Hey, I'd be curious to go back and watch that and see who in the audience laughed. Because some people laughed when they heard it, man.
That's a great idea too.
I told y'all it's humorous to them privately. It's humorous, and I ain't mad at them for having their own humor. Like there's some things that we may say about them that are humorous in private, but I know to keep those things private. These people, they don't care. They just don't care anymore. It's a total lack of respect, and I really truly believe this, that black men need to separate themselves from these people when it comes to talent.
Now, and I'm gonna say, real talk. Let's imagine for a moment. You are presenting. You an actor. You're presenting the first award for the night, and you're on stage. How loud do you have to be for a random person in the audience to call you a nigga, and for you to even understand that that's what you was called? How loud you got to be to do that? So now I know Blackwood didn't say 100% for sure
I'm
that there was a
saying
mic, but
I believe they put a mic next to him and say, make sure you call them niggas. Yes, I'm okay with taking the position that that's what happened.
well, I'm gonna
I'm
say for
good
them
with
they clearly hear that on stage. That's a reasonable theory. That's an extremely reasonable theory.
Yeah,
Because I
because
can hear.
even with Tourette's, you're not always just shouting stuff out. You could just be twitching and shit, trying to like keep a word from coming out, to my understanding, right?
I mean, sometimes your mama said something to you, you ain't understand what she said, and she was just upstairs. Well, she was just downstairs. Okay, she was in the other room. So the person who says this said it well enough for the person presenting on stage to clearly understand
Yeah, and
what
that's
was
what
said.
I'm saying.
Both of
That's
them
what I'm
understood.
saying. That's what I'm saying with Tourette's outbursts. They don't always come out as this loud, random ass offensive word, right? Sometimes they like, just twitching and shit, trying to like keep something from coming out. And they not yelling it every time. You know what I'm saying? It might be muffled.
Absolutely.
So yeah, yes, that's an excellent point.
Yeah. How I get this from the stage? Well, both of us know what's said. Ain't neither one of us confused about what was said. I mean, if that wasn't by auditorium, Mike, I don't know what to say. But of course, if you know a guy with Tourette's is coming there, and you know there's a chance he might say some stuff, you know what? Let's see him next to the mic. Because
Perfect cover.
I mean, I don't know how their organization works, but I know a lot of times when you have award shows for big stuff, these people got assigned seats. These people are told where they can sit. So it just so happened he close enough. He's either close enough for him to get it picked up by the mics for the presentation itself, or he's sitting next to some particular mic where it can be presented over a good period of room in that area. How see, I'm a person that just don't buy into coincidence. That's all I'm saying. I don't buy in coincidences. You said nigga a couple times, and all that got heard, but everything else edited it out. Sorry, I had to sneeze, but to me that sounds like you're telling people call
at
black
the
folks
very
niggas.
at the very least, he got nigga in his heart. At the very least. At the very least, it's in his heart. At the very least.
But yeah, it's definitely in his heart.
Because when you repeat it, that's your subconscious saying, let's assume we accept the bullshit story. And I'm not accepting it, by the way. But let's say we do. That's in your heart. When you repeat it, you something subconsciously, you want to say it, and you want them to know you're saying it, and you want the people around you to hear you saying it at them. That's what that means to me. And to me, that's the best case scenario. That's the best case scenario about you. Now, what I actually think is you went there specifically to say nigga. And I think there was some other people involved who wanted you to say nigga, and they wanted to use the cover of your having Tourette's to be able to get that shit off. And the reason why I'm just about certain of that is when they had the chance to edit the shit out, they specifically chose not to. See, when I put that together with what happened what they had control over and the decisions they made in spite of what they had control over. No, that was all a setup, cuz that was all coordinated together. I don't
Excuse
care
me,
what you tell me about Tourette's and any of that. I don't give a damn. That's all coordinated to me.
excuse me, Mr. Davidson. We need you to sit right here. Now, we ain't gonna say when to
Next to
say
this
it,
mic.
but on a certain part of the show, we just want you to get out nigga, and we just gonna say it was Tourette's. Okay, that's what we gonna say. It was
We
Tourette's.
got
Yeah. Now, the thing is, you say nigga, blame it on the Tourette's. But you know what? I wasn't comfortable with that first nigga. I wasn't comfortable with that. I don't know if he did the job I needed it to do. So just give me a minute and I'm gonna say nigga a second time. Just so everybody is totally clear on what
Or
I'm doing right here.
or somebody already knew he didn't like niggas and just, made it very easy for the whole thing to all come together.
You know what? Make sure Mike over there before these two, because it's gonna be two
Yeah.
niggas that come out first. So make sure Mike is right
Yeah.
there
We're gonna
at the
have
beginning of the
these
show.
two very tall, handsome niggas prominently on this show, and we know how you feel about them niggers. And so we gonna present this in a way where you won't be able to stop yourself
Yeah,
from saying nigga.
yeah, I can see somebody backstage right now. Wait, hold on, John's here. Look, such and such and such and such. We need y'all to hold on. We need to present this award first. Michael B. Daryl,
They
y'all
had
ready?
they had
Come
this
on out.
guy did this. They had this black guy do his whole speech about this wonderful speech about liberation and Africa and Nigeria and freedom for everybody and let's save the Palestinians. They edited that whole damn thing out of that program. All of it. So you don't tell me that that was not a coordinated thing. You don't tell me that was not a coordinated thing.
because you still a nigga.
He even cross seas. He's still a
Oh,
nigga.
So
You
you're
know.
saying earlier in the show they actually gave a tribute to Palestine, African nations, and whatnot, and then this happened after that.
No, I think he's talking about referring to a different award show with
Oh, okay, I got
something
you.
like that happened, but the whole thing was edited out.
No,
And,
it was the same. No.
oh,
It
it's the
was the
same award
same
show.
program.
Wow,
And this black
wow.
guy got an award. He got an award. I think a directing award or something. It was a black guy. And he had this wonderful speech about African liberation and black liberation and the liberation of the people. And he ended it with Free Palestine. They edited that whole damn thing out of that program. All of it.
Okay, well, that
But to
might be
keep
why
the
I
nigga.
didn't catch it. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. So
you
so
got,
so so when to me everything's all connected, right? I do the math on what you do, don't do, what you can control, what you not can't control, what you do show, what you don't show. And when you do the math all together, to me, the shit's all intentional. It's all because it's all coordinated.
I mean, to me,
Looks like
it's not
sounds like to me.
what to me is
It,
it's
it,
not a
it was
coincidence
more
that the
it was
right
more
person.
difficult and took more time and more difficult to remove what that brother has said in the program, especially since he had won an award. So it required more editing and more effort to remove him than it would have been 1 second, 2 second bleeps or bursts of distortion to nigger. It'd been much easier to do that. Like you all said, they're doing it all over the internet. They're blurring it out all over the internet. So of course it was intentional. The whole thing was intentional. You put it all together, it had to be intentional.
Yeah, and you have to have the right. If you're gonna even claim it was random, you have to have the right man at the right seat with the right people on stage.
And now let me treat you like a bitch by gaslighting the shit out of you going forward about the whole thing. Let me treat you like a straight bitch now by telling you you ain't seeing what's before your own damn eyes. That's why I say them
You ain't
people
hear
are
what you thought
devils,
you
man.
heard.
Them people are devils.
You ain't see what you thought you
Yeah,
seen.
Right, man.
Well,
yeah,
I'm just saying, for it to be a
devils
coincidence, you got to have the right man sitting in the right spot with a
At the right
mic
time.
close enough to pick up the
exactly.
right thing with the right people on stage for this to come off this way. Now,
And
that's what I'm saying.
subconsciously, this is how nasty it is. Subconsciously, I don't know if they heard me when I said the first nigga, so I'm gonna say nigga again just so they know what I mean.
Yeah, he had to collect that check. He said, just in case they say I ain't said it, I gotta get paid.
Exactly, exactly. So there's
My
He
no
was
doubt.
securing the bag
There's
with the
no
second. He
doubt
was
about
securing the
what's
bag
being
with the second.
said.
Yeah, yeah.
Because here's the thing, he could have said nigga, and then the next thing he could have said shut up, or he could have said F you or whatever. No, he repeated the nigga, man. That is a conscious thought. That's a conscious
Or,
thought, man.
or maybe, or maybe there was a
That's a
clause in
conscious
the
thought.
contract. Maybe there was a clause in the contract for you get paid double every time you say it. So the
You
more you
know
say
what?
it, you get paid more.
You know what? I'm thinking it's a dude. And this is just me thinking, y'all. Because I think people are people. You got a dude, he's a filmmaker, right? He's having some sort of successful life. Now, I'm not really familiar with the guy, but he's having some sort of successful life where he's getting invited to this prestigious award show. What does he do before he goes to this prestigious award show? Yeah, man, the film we doing, yeah, they gonna talk about the film at the award show. You know what I'm saying? It should be a great time. Now I don't know if he's been to these award shows or not, but what can a conversation happen with your friends? You know what, man? When you get there, I bet you won't say nigga when you get there. What? I bet you won't say nigga. It's gonna be some black people there. I bet you won't say nigga. You got Tourette's. You can get away with it. Man, I bet you I say nigga. You know what I'm saying? You think I'm scared? Nah, I ain't scared. Nigga, you scared. You scared. You not gonna call none of them niggas when you get there. Bet I'll call them nigga. So now you get to the award show. Now, the quote unquote niggas done came out. Now, guess what? You got Tourette. Nigga. You know what? I don't know if my buddies heard this, but we put 1,000 on the line. It's just a little fun bet. We got money. A little fun bet. To make sure I collect my $1,000 a second time. Nigga. I'm gonna make sure everybody heard it. I'm not gonna come back to the crib and they talking about I ain't say it. No, I'm gonna make sure y'all heard it. And it could be just that simple at the end of the day. Just a bet about what they would and wouldn't
Yeah,
say. But however it came down, I'm saying it had to be very deliberate for it to come down the way it came out.
right.
Had to be
But
deliberate.
understand, it's one we can speculate on how it was done. Like I say, to me the best case scenario is just nigga in his heart, and he just got to say it because he is just in his heart.
Yep.
That's the best case scenario.
You know what,
The
Blackie?
worst
I
case
got
scenario, it was very conscious. It was very conscious and deliberate and etc. But
well,
the fact that they
Black
made
Guru,
a point
Roger.
of airing it,
I do want to
I
say something
wanted.
real quick. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because he did get up and leave, y'all. He did get up and leave. Why did he get up and leave after the first nigga? I get okay. It's out of my control. I'm just doing stuff I ain't got no business doing. But I ain't gonna say it again. Now I said the second nigga, and I still said that. Why he wait so long to leave if it was a problem for him? So I don't even think it was a problem for him. But go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
Like, I don't think it was a problem for him because I think it was all a setup. Think about who were the presenters. What movie did they do? What were the nuances of that movie? think about where they were
Bunch of
at.
niggas.
The
You know what?
sinners
Yeah.
Yeah, I
from
mean,
Britain.
I said that
Think
I
about how they
believe
stole the
that it
music,
was
or
definitely
we. They wasn't just talking about them. They were talking about Michael Jackson for holding on to the Beatles catalog. Michael Jackson for holding on to Elvis Presley catalog. It was, I think it was a shot at the power that what we have been doing. You know, now we're dominating the film industry. Even over there, like we'll go back to a little bit what Black Guru was saying earlier, with us as Black Americans taking over the movie industry here. They got a lot of people over in London and England. I mean, over in those countries over there, a lot of them are doing Netflix stuff. A lot of Black actors from those countries are on Netflix. They're kind of mimicking what we're doing over here. And we talked about this before, as far as who's going to be the next Denzel, Gregory Hines, other prominent Black actors that we have over here. And it costs less for them to be paid, those actors to be paid over there to do some of the same stuff that we do here. And are they looking for a push for their actors to take over what we're doing here and pay them less money and make more money off them? Or are they jealous because the actors over here know more about the industry and are more control of a lot of things for themselves, self-determining, versus a new actor over there? Idris Elba came over here, had a lot of different prominent roles in a lot of American films,
well,
but he still does a lot of stuff over there.
Delroy was very recently during the interview. He was very complimentary and very appreciative of Black American actors and directors. Obviously, he was in Spike Lee's. He was famously played a supporting role in Malcolm X. He was Malcolm X's sort of criminal mentor, if you all recall,
right? Yep.
in the earlier part of the movie. Amazingly, the man doesn't age. You know, he looks the same as he looked, 35 years ago. It's the weirdest thing, man. It's the weirdest thing, man. That movie was released.
No grays in the beard or nothing. No strands or nothing.
Yeah,
just unbelievable. But he said that he said, I never would have made it as an actor were it not for other Black American actors and directors and the support he got in with Black support in the United States. And I'm sure there probably are some people in Britain, especially some white people in Britain that probably didn't necessarily appreciate that, because he contrasted his experience here with Black Americans versus apparently what little support he got in London or in England, for his acting career. Yeah.
And that make all the sense in the world. And I'm gonna say shout out to MJD the second. He says it was a marketing ploy for racists to promote John Davison's movie. This is how they get down. And I'm gonna say yes, this is a good marketing ploy to not put a lot of advertising money into the movie, because now you're just curious about what's this movie about Tourette's that John Davison did. And a lot of people are going to end up going to that movie now who would not have gone to it without this happening. So yeah, it's zero cost marketing at the end of the day, And I'm gonna say shout out to Delroy Lindo for looking so good, because the internet told me he's 73, but he's been looking like he's 43 for about 30 years now.
What's the other dude? Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson looking the same from like he was playing Ghostbusters yesterday.
But it was funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Ernie's got to be 80. Ernie's got to be 80 or 81 by now. And he looks fantastic, man. Look, I
Got
mean,
no fucking.
he still got his,
Yeah.
physique, and it's incredible.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, because I know I've been seeing Delroy Lindo. He been out there for at least 30 years now. And now it say 73, y'all, but I think he's 43 again, and 43 again next year, and the next year. So, the man do look good, which is also a cause for certain forms of jealousy that go out in Hollywood, and the fact that he is a British actor and
That's
he's
true.
giving props to American black actors when if I understand how white supremacy works in other countries, you're not really supposed to say stuff like that either. As a black actor, you're supposed to say how we're better than those people over there.
I'm patriotic.
That's my understanding on how white supremacy works from
Well,
outside of
no.
America and other places.
What you're supposed to do is somehow credit some white or small hat person for your success. So when you single out, Spike Lee and Denzel Washington and black theater, he mentioned black theater and whatever, people who are not necessarily rich and famous and people who have day jobs and stuff like that. You're not supposed to credit them. They're our niggas. You're not supposed to credit them. You supposed to credit somebody named Feinberg or some shit like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to
Mario
Gregory Scholar.
Jankowicz.
Now
Yeah,
I will say this. I will say this to that black Uru. They will credit you as a black man if you push their agenda. Oh, they'll give you all the credit in the world as long as
but
you push
yeah,
their agenda.
I mean,
So there's a
yeah, I
subtle
mean,
difference between the two. A black
No,
man will
but no,
push.
no. Listen, but you're talking about a different thing, brother. I'm talking about what Delroy specifically singled out black art and artists as being the reason why for his success. And for a lot of people in that industry, they don't necessarily appreciate that because to them it's their industry. They own the distribution, they own all the big production companies, etc., whatever. So they're supposed to get credit for your success. They're
Oh,
supposed to
and you're
get
saying
credit for
that
your success. They're supposed to
that's
be the first
why.
one that come out of their mouth when they thank whomever for winning an Oscar, that kind of thing.
Mm.
They're supposed to be the first people to thank, not
yeah,
Spike Lee, not Denzel Washington, and those folks.
yeah, and the status about films too. To my understanding, American films have higher status in certain places than the films of their own country. So this may be a similar thing in this regard. So when you start saying thank you to them other niggas, because obviously Delroy's still a nigga, because John Davidson proved that's how they think about him. So you give props to these other niggas
Exactly.
who ain't even from our country. What's wrong with you? You
Mm-hmm.
know? So we got to take you down too. You know, you with that hot nigga, but that nigga's an American nigga. So we got to take you down too, because you propping them up. You know, a lot of stuff be happening in the background. You know, and
Yeah.
it,
Look, Delroy basically indirectly said that, you know, London theater and filmmaking, from my personal perspective, ain't shit. They didn't help me. They didn't promote you. You're looking at me as a product of FBA support and ingenuity and artistic creativity. That's what he basically declared. And to those people, to the English people who basically consider themselves to be the apex of acting and theater and all of that, because even though America has a bigger industry and has more money, England is still considered to be the progenitor of Western theater and, and acting. So for you to go someplace else and then say, well, I can do I was able to do here what I could not do in merry old England. That's going to be a slap in the face to a lot of them kind of people. They're going to feel a certain kind of way about that.
And guess what? I'm back home, and I'm still hot right now. Why? Because I messed with them FBA
and I'm styling
niggas.
on you motherfuckers. I'm styling on you motherfuckers in the process. At 73. At 73.
They talking about my movie all over the world right now. You know, I'm styling on you niggas. You know, I guess that's why we got to present first. We got to go first. You know, so it be some stuff in the background a lot of times.
And even though I'm old, I'm still tall and pretty. So hate on all that too, and black.
Mm-hmm. You know, and what's in my future? More stunting. We all know I'm a stunt some more. I got some more in me. You know, so when I'm done over here, I'm gonna go back to America and get back on the block and get some more out there. Y'all will see it, and y'all know y'all gonna see it. So, you know, it be some hate going on. You know, and there's
Listen, they went Ryan Coogler as soon as that movie came out, man. They trying to lock that dude up for cashing the check at his own bank.
No,
he looked suspect to them. They profiled him and everything at the damn bank. It was crazy. He wanted to get $17,000. They wouldn't lock the man up. Here's my bank account.
That's why.
What's the problem? He came in with a mask on.
As funny as that is, I gotta say that bank issue did happen before Sinners came out.
You're right.
As funny as that is.
It happened before Sinners came out, but it happened right after Black Panther came out.
It was after a big project that he did. And lock this nigga up.
No, it was Black Panther 2. Black Panther 2 had just came out.
Well,
Black Panther 2 had just came out. Like about a couple weeks
ago. A while ago. We had did that story.
Man.
Well, no, you might be right. I just know we did it a while ago. But you know, yeah, I mean, there's repercussions to black men succeeding. There are repercussions that go with it at the end of the day. So, you know, and you know, when you have that little status thing and you feel some type of way about another group of people, especially when you work in the same industry, I get it, y'all. People be hating on people, and that's just what it is. So, you know, we gonna get Delroy and Michael up there at the same time. We gonna call them both niggas at the same time. We gonna get a nigga out there for both of them too. They gonna each get their own separate nigga, and we gonna make sure everybody here too. You know.
Hey man, this was a dispute at the water cooler. Them boys was at work having a dispute. That's all this is. This is office dispute.
You supposed to keep it in the office then. You supposed to keep it in the office.
Hey, John called me a nigga.
Yeah, we ain't supposed to hit. You know, if it's an office dispute, you keep it at the office. You know, it ain't supposed to come.
Right, can't do it at the company award ceremony. Can't get out awards and
nigga at the company picnic. Nigga. Who you talking about? There go another one, nigga.
You supposed to always be in a position where they come to you and be like, "Did you call him a nigga?" I ain't calling no nigga. Ain't nobody heard me say that. That's what you're supposed to be.
Ain't nobody heard me call it.
But John said, "No, I ain't going out like that." I ain't going.
9 billion people finna hear me call them nigga. The whole world finna hear me call them niggas.
That's crazy, man.
And when I get to the crib, niggas come up with my $1,000. When I get to the, you know what I'm saying, I get to the crib. Now my homie owe me $1,000 because you know he heard me say it on TV. Yeah.
Oh man.
But you know, my thing is I'm just presenting how black men can get wrapped up in all kinds of stuff for something we really didn't do all over the world. And even though people may try to brush off what Sharon Moore did, I mean, yeah, he stabbed a couple white women. It is what it is. He married to one. He stabbed on his assistant. But at the end of the day, he never, ever said anything as if he was going to cause his assistant harm. You know, he did not stalk her or harass her that can be proven. And the fact that he made phone calls toward her during work hours, leave messages like "call me back." This is a boss talking to the employee,
Right.
and we got all this rigmarole, and because that's what they use to be able to go get him the way they did. Where he's a
They,
threat to her
they,
and he's stalking her.
they really did railroad him. It's like if you have a plant job and you're being audited for something and you got the auditors coming in, you know how everything gets real frantic and they trying to get everything in line and in place. This is what's going on this bowl season.
Yep.
You're trying to tighten up all the screws. You're trying to get everybody on deck. And the one person I can't get in touch with is my personal assistant. Of course I'm gonna call you 5 or 10 times.
Yeah, to
So
me,
they railroaded that dude, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
they. I believe at this point those type of harassment orders or orders of protection or whatnot are strategically used more than anything. Because I mean, and those are typically unilateral. And what I mean by that is the one claiming abuse does not have to follow anything in that order.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Only the person who the abuse is claimed against has to follow the order. So a woman essentially who has that type of order against you, they can still call you, they can still come be at where you be at, show up to your job and shit. That was my experience, by the way. My ex-wife actually stalked me after she got an order of protection against me. I bullshit you not. I wish I was making
Yeah.
this shit up.
It, I
I
know
can
that
make a
you're not
movie about
making it up because there are women out there. They will get an order to say a person cannot come within, say, 200 feet or 200 yards, whatever they put. I don't remember how they do it on the orders. And then
it.
they will
Yeah,
literally go to where that man is to try to get him
man.
caught up.
Man. So
Literally.
but I I recorded everything and I kept everything on file and I was able to beat mine, thank God, by the grace of God. However, I do know that those things, just from my experience, can be used so abusively. The one actually claiming abuse or harassment could actually be the one doing it.
I'm going to say, and I definitely believe that most of the time it is the one doing it. You
Yeah,
know?
because if you're afraid of someone, you shouldn't want to be near that person if you truly are afraid of that person. You shouldn't want to hear from that person. But when she got it against me, we didn't exchange our children at the police station anytime it was time to exchange the kids. She came straight to my house.
But, but
No police
any,
escort, So
anytime they can get an advantage, they going for it. That's
yeah,
for sure.
anytime they can get an advantage, they can go for it. So
Yeah.
I can clearly know that they can use those,
Hmm.
harassment orders essentially to just try to paint a man as something that he's not.
Yeah. Can't get no advantage if we exchange them at the police station. that ain't no way. I can't turn that into an advantage. So that's a waste of time. That's how a woman
Mhm.
think. That I can't turn that into an
But
advantage.
on
But
the Sharon Moore thing, notice that the police took liberties that were not even asserted by the woman herself.
Yes.
That's why to
Yes.
me, this was not about this woman. This was about now she has some issues, obviously, but it wasn't about the woman per se in terms of the criminal side of this. The criminal side of this was between, in my view, was between the University of Michigan and the police department. Now,
That
obviously, he was fortunate enough for this to get presented uh, before a judge who wasn't in on the fix. Because had it been presented before one of them other kind of judges, so to speak,
mm,
of another,
mm,
background, then
yeah.
that person likely would have went along with the scam.
You know what? That's an excellent point because typically when you are drug into those type of situations, a lot of your outcomes does depend on the judge that you get.
yeah. All right.
And fortunately for me, I had a judge that was, centered and just looked at the evidence and facts versus, one that's coordinating with the state in order to destroy another black man. So
All right, y'all. We got a new guest up. We got a new guest up. Okay. We got to give him the mic. Shout out to Supreme Emperor is back in the building. You got the mic, my brother.
How you been?
We all
Can
right,
you hear?
brother. Need you to speak up a little bit. We barely hearing you.
Yeah. So
There
we
we
just
go.
got another story right now. Well, what happened this time? We got, hmm? We got white
From
people white folking, white
No,
people doing white.
this ain't that. This ain't that. No, I mean, no, I mean, what? Yeah, they are. They are that. It's definitely that. I can't say it's not that because they definitely doing that. You know.
Yeah. So they saw my man Michael B. Jordan on stage getting all these accolades, and you got this one white idiot. He looked at the stage and screamed, "Who's that nigga on that there?" I thought you were done with this shit. Why is there a nigga on that there? Anyway,
I
crazy
would,
folks, man.
I would say that's how they treat you when you get home. Sometimes, you know, Daryl came back home. You know, that's the crazy
welcome
part.
to Candyland.
Daryl
Man,
came back home. That's what he got. You know.
yep. You fought during the Vietnam War for them. When you come back home, they lynch your ass in uniform. Hmm?
Hey, Delroy, I heard you been hanging with them FBA niggas. We got something for you. We get you back over here. You know, you know. That's what they doing. That's
It's
what they doing.
nasty work, man. Anyway, they don't like us, but they ain't nothing without us. Ain't that some shit? Take away the great the great things that black people have contributed to America in terms of entertainment only. Take all that away. What would America look like today?
It would look Native American if they never showed up.
Hmm?
That's a good point. Great point, really. Yeah.
I don't know if I gotta use AI to run a simulation. I might have to do that. Oh God, tell AI remove all the black contribution, especially when it comes to entertainment. All the black inventions, everything. Remove everything black and show me what America could potentially look like in 2026. I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
that
Not
would
like
be a
much,
much
huh?
different America.
No, them people wouldn't have survived. They were eating at some point. They were eating each other. They wouldn't have survived over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the Oregon Trail trying to get some fucking gold. Got their kids out there eating their babies for a gold rush.
All right. We got Jado that came up too, y'all. Jado that came up too. So let me let him get the mic. Jado, you got
Man, did you say Epstein was on the Oregon Trail?
it. Go ahead, Jado.
Hey, what's good, fellas? Hope y'all doing good, man. Yeah, Roger. I was kind of just enjoying the back and forth between the judge and the lawyer, man. And I know yesterday we got caught up in language, man. And I know that I don't think that wasn't your primary intent for the show or whatever, but we got we got in it pretty deep, and I just seen a great example of
Stop
them
putting me on that knee.
going back and forth with the language, man. And what stood out to me was when the judge, I think the lawyer said false, and then the judge said, I don't know if it was false. I just think it was what did he say? Portrayed an inaccurate context, man. And then she said maybe not false, but maybe reckless disregard. And I don't know, man. I just really enjoyed that, man, because man, these white folks are so slick, man. I don't know, man. I think they have a level of I don't know, deceit and stuff that I don't know if black people are really.
I don't know if we're truly capable of that level of deceit. And that's just my opinion, man. Over the years that I've been observing my folks and them folks too. And and even with that, I don't know, with that Tourette syndrome thing, I'm pretty sure. Again, if I'm repeating something someone said earlier, man, my apologies. But yeah, I know Saturday Night Live. I think they had didn't they have like a skit about that where yeah, like somebody with Tourette syndromes would just holler out the most obscene things and then pretend like they didn't do it. I don't know, man. They could just set up these situations where it can be some plausible deniability, and I don't know, man. I feel like my brain is being played with, like, oh, it's kind of my intelligence is being played with, like at all levels, all the time, man. So I don't. Hey, good luck to the brother Sharon Moore with this trial, man. Hope everything goes well, justice is served, man. Hopefully they can throw out all that stuff. And yeah, I'll just end right there. Thanks for having me over.
Man, Sharon Moore has not learned his lesson. He's still hiring white women. He's still doing it. He ain't learned the lesson yet.
Well, I mean, he figured her, look, you're in a situation involving white women. White women are being used against you, so it's kind of a sort of fighting fire with fire kind of scenario. You often see this kind of thing happen where when some man gets involved or gets in trouble involving a woman, very often they will hire a woman as lead counsel to try to neutralize the presence of their female adversary. I don't know to what degree it works, but it definitely happens a lot. And sometimes I do think having a female attorney, particularly with matters involving women, sometimes some of the particular behavioral effects of females, women can more readily identify and potentially counter. I'm not saying that's necessarily relevant to this particular situation, but I definitely think on a lot of the sexual things and involves text messaging and women know women better than we do in terms of detailed behavior of them and what a lot of stuff that they do mean or don't mean. So sometimes it's a good idea, and when you add to it white women, because white women have their whole even for females, it's a white female thing that's a whole thing. It's a black female thing that's a whole thing. It's a Latino female thing that's a whole thing. So sometimes it is a good idea to have one of them, certainly on your legal team, but maybe in some cases as your lead counsel.
I agree, Black Guru. I did that when all three of my divorces, all women judges, marriage counselors, all women marriage counselors. They can go through and see the BS that women do. That to add on to that, what you're saying, and that has definitely helped me out a lot. I agree with that.
I don't trust him.
But it is tricky though. It is tricky, and again, it's all situational and scenario. Certainly if a judge, if you have a jury trial and you got some sensitive issues involving women, in some cases it's probably going to help you to have a female counsel. Because sometimes the women play easier to the women, and most American, and here's the messed up part right now, most American jurors are female. Most American voters, most American jurors are female. And we're probably nearing most American judges. You know, in fact, I will wager most American judges probably under the age of maybe 45 probably are female.
I'm gonna give this particular judge a shout out. I had to look it up to see what his name is. It's the Honorable J. Cedric Simpson. Okay, so shout out to that brother being in the right place at the right time, making the right moves. You know, because I said as black men, we can make some differences out here, but we got to be in the right positions to make a difference. So I'm glad he was in the right position to calm some nonsense down at the end of the game, because to me that was some nonsense.
Yeah, he appears to be a very fair judge, and he's hilarious too. You watch his faces, man. He's hilarious, man.
Yeah, I've seen him come across my feed on more than one occasion. He does some very interesting things, I'll say that. And he seemed to be a no nonsense type of guy, you know. Or even if he let your nonsense go, you ain't about to fool him easy. He don't seem like that type of guy. He just don't get fooled easy, you know.
Agreed.
But shout out to the people who done entertained me by having great content that he's gonna make. I've definitely seen some entertaining stuff on his feed, real talk. You know. But I'm so glad he caught this particular case. I'm definitely glad he caught this particular case. Because the thing is, had he not caught this particular case, maybe we don't really know and understand exactly what was going on as clearly as we were able to do by getting actual footage of what was happening in the courtroom.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got a question. Was it a hard R?
You know what? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna double check.
I think just what I heard, man. I think the argument could be made that he didn't even say nigger, man.
Yeah, he was saying, my nigga.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying the argument could be made that that's not even what he said.
People can make an argument of anything, though, technically. But I'm gonna go back
True,
and make sure.
A legitimate argument, a valid argument.
No place. Hope you go ahead and get in real quick. I'm gonna double check the footage and see what he did.
Yeah, we need no placeholder to speak up for Delroy.
Or fellow half Jamaican brother. He said. So, well, I'm actually full Jamaican though, but nevertheless, so. Yeah. Actually, no, that one may have been born in Jamaica. Actually, I didn't have to look it up. But I'm saying because he does have a certain accent to it.
He was born in London.
No, I looked it up. It said he was born in London. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So his parents are Jamaican then. Okay.
Yeah, his parents.
But yeah, okay, all right. So those are my children then. But yeah, I watched it. I watched both Moore's video as well as the incident with the Tourette's. He definitely said the N-word. There's no question about that. Sorry about that. That's my daughter. Yeah, he definitely said the N-word.
Oh.
Yeah. No, yeah. He definitely said the N-word. But the reason why I am not so offended about that, because I did see that he did have a slur when what's her name? Maggie. Who's that chick from the? No, that's her name. What the hell is the two skinny white women? There were two skinny white women on the stage, and he did say something offensive when they were up there as well too. Huh?
What he said to them?
I don't remember what he said to them, but when they were up there, I heard a yell come from the stage as well. So I didn't exactly hear what he said to them. There was a yell that came from the crowd as well too. It was the same voice and same tone as the one that it was clear. When you say nigga, it's kind of hard not to hear it. The same, but that one I definitely heard. The same.
But did it sound like White Queen or something along those lines or something?
Nah. He sounded, you know, whatever words they call black and white women, I basically failed him. But I don't want to go into his head. I would just say that it's so funny how how these things happen, and they justify it. I'm watching the video of the guy. It- it's really interesting that white people just cover their shame in a way where they mask it under certain things. For example, Tourette syndrome is a real thing, but it's just how they go about like covering their shame. Because obviously, in order for you to get outputs, you have to have inputs. Meaning that you can't call somebody a nigga unless you understand what I'm saying. How that's whatever it is. I'm saying so it's there's I don't really see the disease being a vindication of that. One of the person that was on the stage said that it is true that the environment that you have this person in that has Tourette's is what really matters, and I agree with that. And quickly before I run on to my 2 minutes regarding the Michigan coach, yeah. So it seems to me like yeah, that's there's a lot of obfuscation going on, a lot of typical police shit that they do. It's not the first time I've encountered something like that. They're masters of that thing, where basically obfuscation and omissions and other things that this is why you need a good attorney. And at the same time, I'm saying, and it's also one of the reasons why I understand and know that women are fully aware of how the system works and how the law works. Because one of the points that they made about that was like the judge was saying that like it seemed to me kind of odd that he justified the reason for having this restraining order over the 12 calls, and then the message that came a couple of days later on, you didn't seem to have an issue with that. So it seemed to me like she purposely didn't answer her phone and let him kept calling and calling and calling. And maybe when the police or somebody else, I remember she was under at that point, she was talking to them. Maybe one of them told her that would be the best thing to do to get the restraining order. But anyway, I'll land right there. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, I'm gonna jump in real quick and say, yeah, I went back to listen just to be sure. It's definitely sounded like the ER version of me. Okay, ain't no A in there. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no A in there. He don't seem like he familiar with a nigga. You know what I'm saying? He don't seem like he familiar with a nigga at all. He was on the other end of somewhere, and he know that's what we call them people. So it definitely sounds like an ER version. Okay, and that's just real talk. And I checked several times. Yeah, I didn't just listen to one video. I went back to multiple videos and cuts to make sure I heard what I heard. Even the ones that bleep, you can kind of hear the ER coming out after the beep. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, don't sound like he cool with us in any way. Now I can't say who his friends are. This is my first time hearing of the dude. You know, it is BAFTA, so not even American. So I don't know, dude, but I don't think he know none of us either. Real talk. So yeah, I didn't get nothing that sound like an A to me. It sounded like an ER as if he's an unfamiliar. Real talk. But I want to let sons of sons of the guy Noxie get in since he done came up. You got the flow, my brother.
Hey, what's up, Roger? What's up, panel? This is just a PSA. You got 69 watching and 51 likes. That's unacceptable. That action is the same as calling Roger a nigga on stage. Just how Delroy and Michael B. Jordan was treated. This man worked tirelessly to provide great content. Nothing is free. Right now, get your lazy ass thumb and hit the like button or the dislike button so it can help through the algorithm. Those that did not hit the button, your mama's probably on welfare and you're probably the byproduct of being a jump off. Okay?
All right, I'm gonna say he joking about that last part. He joking about that last part. He joking about that. But no, real talk though, do hit the like button, y'all. If you're here, hit the like button. We give you great content over here, and we do this Monday through Fridays at 9 a.m. So if you are new, and I understand you got caught up in the content, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're listening to this on the replay, and if you're part of the replay game, you hit that like button. It's never a wrong time to hit that like button. That's real talk. Even
And
if you
also
dislike
hype the video.
Exactly. Help in the algorithm. Help in the algorithm.
Hey, sons of the gynocracy, did the crab legs go down during the snowstorm?
No, they went up.
Damn.
Yeah. It's capitalism, baby.
We not worried about no crab leg prices over here. Okay, I'm just saying we ain't worried about no crab leg prices over here. Okay. Don't eat them every day, but I eat them regularly. You know what I'm saying? We ain't worried about no crab leg price. That's gonna happen. Okay. Now I ain't telling nobody to raise the price, but that's gonna happen. All right. You can't give up everything. You know, you can't give up everything. You know. But we are getting to our last 10 minutes. So what I'm gonna do today, y'all, I'm gonna let everybody start giving out a last statement because we about to hit that 3 hour mark. Okay. And I'm definitely gonna end the show. Well, I'm trying to end the show on time today. We definitely still talking back, but I'm trying to end the show on time today. So I guess we will come from the opposite end this time. So Brunk, you just came back. That means you're gonna have the first word or the last word. So any closing statements you want to make on today's show?
Nah, I'll give it to somebody else. I'm just gonna sit back and listen. But I like everything that was talked about today. Really, for real. It gave me an interesting perspective on just these award shows and this Sharon Moore situation. So.
All right. All right. Well, sons that I got knockers, even though you just came, any last statement you want to make before we get up out of here?
What I learned from this stream that a man's meat has no freedom in this world either. So
That's a
damn
tough.
shame.
That's a tough pill to swallow. No placeholder. Any last words from you?
I do, Roger, very quickly. As I saw Michael B. Jordan and Delroy on that stage, and that person in the audience did not distinguish between neither when it comes to the N word with the strong ER. This is an indication to us that essentially that while we might be involved in infighting, unnecessarily, in my opinion, very much unnecessarily, from the rest of our enemies, or what we want to call, there is no distinguishing between us. The same, but yeah, from their perspective, it is what it is. But I'll land there. Thank you.
I'm gonna say solid point. Solid point. Jado, you got it.
Just like the content, share it, make a comment, and thanks for having me up, bro.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Black Uru is on you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Roger. I mean, both of these are examples of devilish behavior and devilish behavior in high places, whether they involve University of Michigan and I guess I forget the name of the town or whatever, uh, Ann Arbor, I guess, police department, and or the producers and the distributors of the BAFTA program. All these men, Sharon Moore, obviously Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, successful, accomplished, fit, good-looking, tall black men, provoke a lot of, and as no placeholder noted, both FBA and non-FBA in this case, provoke that same sort of fear, dread, jealousy, envy, wonder, and a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of non-black people, non-black men struggle with that. So it's an ongoing fight that we all, to various degrees, fight. Obviously, Michael B. Jordan and Delaware will continue to do well. Hopefully, Sharon recovers from this incident. He appeared to be moving in a direction where that's possible, if not probable. And black men continue to prevail regardless of the onslaughts against us. So, again, thanks for having me, Roger.
I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. We got Supreme Emperor next.
Hey. Well, to conclude, I hope that you Black Americans keep pushing forward, despite being called all kinds of names and all kinds of obstacle will be placed on your path. Keep pushing, man. Don't worry about it. You know, At some point, maybe they're gonna be the new niggas. Who knows? Thank you.
Okay. Uh, words have power, or words have the power. You next, my brother. Go ahead.
Well, I'd just like to pretty much concur with everybody else, and I say let your light shine. Depend, regardless of circumstances, and keep striving for success. As we're seeing firsthand that people hate on you openly now. They don't even do it in secret no more. So they can do it to your face or do it off to the side or behind your back. They're gonna do it, but they're gonna tell everybody else that they're doing it. What's that saying from down south? Throw a brick and hide your hands. They ain't not even hiding their hands no more. It's throwing the brick and throwing their hands up. I did it. But be careful, protect yourself, and long live the habitual line steppers. Yeah.
All right. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. America. It's on you.
Hey man, one thing I learned today was you hire a white woman, find yourself being you find yourself in a situation where she gonna turn against you, just hire you another white woman. It'll be all right. I'll land with that.
Now, I'm gonna say this, y'all. I'm gonna say this. Very interesting things that were dealt with today. Okay, I expect more to overcome his situation. Probably take a little bit of time, but he will overcome. I do have enough confidence in him that he'll be able to do that. Shout out to Delroy Lindo. I mean, real talk, man. I thought you was right over here with us, man. But you've been down so long with us, man. Man, much respect to you, my brother. Much respect to you, and that's just real talk, man. That's one of my favorites right there, y'all. That's one of my favorites. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan for representing as he does around the world and not letting this stuff slow y'all down. Because obviously they ain't gonna slow down just because this little thing didn't happen. But guess what, y'all? And I hate to have to say this. So anybody out there with Tourette's, unfortunately, this John Davidson guy supposedly created a movie so us regular folk who don't have Tourette's could understand your plight. And you know what? From an overall perspective, that sounds like a good thing. But now the creator of the film done gave me reason to not be so quick to go see that movie. So if you happen to have Tourette's, okay, if y'all hear this gets to you, and you happen to have Tourette's, John Davidson put me in a position where I got to really try to come up with a moral reason why it's okay to go see the movie. Because I would like to understand y'all, and I'm pretty sure y'all would like other people to understand y'all. But how can I do it through his help? So he done put me in a dilemma. You told me beforehand, check this movie out. It's about people with Tourette's. You'll learn something. You'll be able to understand them more. Cool. Sound good. But now, because he out here throwing nigga around like it's Kool-Aid, okay? He throwing nigga around. I mean, he really throwing it around. He made sure that we heard what he said. How can I understand y'all through his help? He done put me in a bad situation. And you know what? I hope everybody else, whoever hears about what happened as far as what he did, I hope y'all have the same dilemma. Again, not against the people who got Tourette's, but a person who y'all may think is down to help y'all. I'm gonna have to say to y'all may have to ask yourself, is he really trying to help y'all or not? Because he just put me in a position where I don't want to see his movie now. Had this not happened, and I heard about a movie about folks with Tourette's so people could understand it better, I would have been like, yeah, let me check that out. I don't have it, but it's a good thing for me to see something about it. The man just literally put me in a position where now I got to be able to figure out how to even justify watching the movie. Because now he a problem. Now, how does that help people with Tourette's? I'm just saying. How does him representing y'all
Hey,
help
Roger.
people with Tourette's? Go ahead, Black Rule.
Hey, Roger, I don't forgive me for interrupting your
No,
closing
I
speech. There's
was about
something
to
I
go
wanted
anyway.
to say about the subject of Tourette's that is relevant and I think will be interesting, particularly for Black men, because there's a very famous Black man who has Tourette's syndrome, a very famous, wondrous, one of the most wondrous basketball players in recent years had Tourette's syndrome. And maybe if you want to study the subject, maybe you should follow him. The great Mahmoud Abdul Rauf has Tourette's syndrome. And if you watched him play throughout his career, you would see him ticking on the court. You would see him moving and the facial things and head movements during NBA basketball games, during his Louisiana, while he was scoring averaging 30 points as a freshman. I think Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf is the greatest, maybe the greatest freshman basketball player I ever saw play collegiate basketball. Period. He averaged 30 points his freshman year at Louisiana State University. He had Tourette's syndrome. So maybe if you guys are interested in this subject, the Tourette's syndrome, maybe rather than this whatever the hell this guy is, maybe you look up the great Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
You know what? That sounds like a wonderful and fine suggestion. I didn't even realize he had Tourette's. So if I heard about it, I definitely forgot. Because we did a whole show on that brother. I almost say certain haters knocked the channel down. We did a great show on that brother too. I didn't even realize he had Tourette's. Or if I did find out when I was a kid or something, I definitely forgot. But you know what? I think that is a great and wonderful suggestion. And I ain't even got to worry about what John Davis and them put out. Cause he doesn't turn me off to even wanting to hear his whatever he got in that movie, I don't even want to hear it now. So that's what he did for the people of Tourette's. He made me not want to see the movie. And I want y'all to take that to heart and screw him at the end of the day. Matter of fact, screw him again. Now I said it twice. And I'm gonna end it right here, y'all. I'm gonna end it right here. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do this at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, y'all. 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. We have the best, most hard-hitting topics over here at the Roger Report Live. It is an experience. 9 a.m. Chicago time. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right, and I'm out.